uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition, your happy Hump Day edition of the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. How do we start off this show as we always do on a Monday and Wednesday night, sometimes on a Tuesday. I hate Tuesdays, but, sometimes we do go live with Rays and Lightning coverage. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. On tonight's show, we'll have the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions and, of course, Amped Up Sports. At 9:30, we will have Mr. TJ Rives of the Buccaneer Radio Network.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Yes, just 8 days away from the NFL draft. I know he also wants to talk about, how about your Tampa Bay Lightning with the playoff victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs, doing Maple Leaf things in the first round? How about your Tampa Bay Rays? I don't think I have a sound effect for that. I certainly do. So we'll be talking to both of these guests tonight about what's going on in Tampa Bay sports, not just about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but predominantly we will definitely focus on not only the NFL draft, but what are the Bucs going to do at number 19 at 10:20. We'll have Turnbuckle Talk. That's right, professional wrestling talk here on the evolution of sports talk television, WWE, AEW, whatever's going on in the professional wrestling world with the madman himself, former XPW announcer, Mr. Mark Mancini, and, of course, the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. And you see it, the numbers there. Use the numbers. We got two now. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get in, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. I tell you what, let's go out to the comments as we await the legend coming up here, Mr. Leo Haggerty. Let's go out to Roger. Roger says first, so we'll go ahead and acknowledge him.
Acknowledge me.
There we go, Roger. Also, hurry this crap up. Dynamite is on, and this is what you get for that.
That's good enough to suck right there.
I don't ask you to tune in to this. You're on my time now. If you want to tune in, you tune in. If not, go and watch Dynamite. I tell you right now, this is much more entertaining than Dynamite lately. Just saying. Troy says first. No, you're not.
This guy sucks.
But I appreciate you tuning in as always, Troy. Nope. Try again, Troy. Let's go out to Michael John Mick here. Should Wirfs get the captain patch over Devin White? You know what? Let's get into that in just a little bit. Right now, the way Tristan Wirfs is acting, he is acting like a captain. He's definitely acting like he has leadership in this locker room. From the comments the other day, I'm going to ask the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, see what he thinks about it. Roger says, read the comments. I am. KR says, evening, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in, KR.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go out to Troy. He's really been not reading the comments lately. Well, YouTube chats are open, so if you want me to read the comments, give to the calls. YouTube chats, my friend.
This guy sucks.
Roger Shue, when are we talking about the Dolphins and the Jags? When do you want to talk about the Dolphins and the Jags? We can. Roger says, where's the Greek? He's not here right now. Troy says, this is a Bucs channel. This is a sports web channel. Wrong. We do talk about the Bucs, but we also talk about your Tampa Bay Lightning, and we also talk about your Tampa Bay Rays. Mickey says, what's going on? Peter H. Blake, what's going on, buddy? Thanks a lot for tuning in. Ralph says, that's right, Peter. Tell him I will. Christopher Cole says, hey, Peter. Zach says, let's go Bolts. Absolutely. I love playoff wins. Thank you very much, Zach, for tuning in. And Troy Polamalu, Devin White is a punk. I remember some of you idiots were saying he was the next Derek Brooks. Laughed my ass off. To be fair, White in the 2020 postseason, and that season overall, was one of the top linebackers in the league. I still think he could be one of the top linebackers in the league, but he has to get more consistent when it comes to pass coverage and tackling. Tell you what, let's go ahead and get this man's thoughts on the whole situation. Here we go. Former coach, scout, and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports, the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Already have some comments here. Tell Leo it's his grandson, Brady. How about them Seahawks? Melissa says hello, thank you. And Roger says, where's the Greek? He's not here right now. He'll be joining us a little bit later. But your grandson tuning in. How old is Brady?
Brady is a freshman in high school in Seattle. He goes to Mount Si High School. And in fact, Peter, he'll be back here in 2 weeks.
Very nice. We'll love to meet your grandson sometime. Definitely chop it up about the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, NFL draft just 8 days away. But we got to talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh, God, yes.
Your thoughts on that huge win last night? They get up 3-0, and there was no looking back after that. Really dirty tactics by the Maple Leafs. But at the end of the day, a solid win. And once again, the Maple Leafs doing Maple Leaf things in the first round. I feel like fans are saying, uh-oh, not again. A long way to go, but not the best start that Toronto wanted to have, right?
You know what, Peter? Here's the scary part for the Lightning. And Lightning fans, you're not going to like to hear this, but you're going to have to hear it. This may have been a Pyrrhic victory. Now, if you don't know what a Pyrrhic victory is, it means you win the battle but lose the war. If the Lightning have to play the rest of the series without Hedman and Chernak, Toronto wins in 5. That's a scary proposition, but I'm going to take you back to Columbus when the Lightning got beat 4 straight.
Sure.
Remember the first 2? Hedman tried to play hurt, and he couldn't, and it hurt the team, and then he sat out the last 2. This team needs 77 on the ice. If he's not on the ice, it's a problem. If Chernak isn't on the ice either, that's their 2 biggest defensemen, and that's huge. You know, everybody talked about the Toronto power play. Well, guess what? That power play was working because Chernak isn't out there. Hedman isn't out there. So, yeah, the Lightning got to stay out of the box. But again, I normally I was going to say the Lightning in 6, but they got to get those 2 guys back.
Definitely got to get those guys back. According to Coach John Cooper, Hedman is a game-time decision for tomorrow. Chernak, Esimon are out. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Cole should be okay for tomorrow. And Tanner Jeannot may play. How big of a get back would that be for this Tampa Bay Lightning team? I mean, that's the reason why they acquired him in the trade deadline in the first place, right?
Oh, yeah, that would be huge. And again, Esimon is basically taking the place of Jeannot. And I'll tell you what, did he take a hit last night, Peter? And it happened right in front of the Lightning bench. And I thought those guys were coming over the boards because I cannot believe the referee didn't call that. I mean, that was egregious. It was to the head. And the Chernak was to the head. I mean, they're complaining it was a 5-minute major. Heck, right. It should have been a 5-minute major. You put an elbow on somebody's jaw. Hey, this isn't MMA. It's hockey.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you on that. And NHL Department of Player Safety announced that Michael Bunting has been suspended 3 games for the hit on Chernak in Game 1 Tuesday night. I mean, this is the right call. A lot of people say, you know, this is hockey, this is playoff hockey, but that clearly was a cheap shot by Bunting, right?
Well, if it wasn't, Peter, and again, I try to give the benefit of the doubt to the guy making the hit, but you know what? He had plenty of time, he had plenty of space, and that elbow came up high. That's just not, you can't do that. You can't hit a guy in the head. That's just it. And 3 games, again, I kind of like the idea of you get suspended for as long as that guy's out. So Chernak's out 4 games and you're out 4 games.
Right.
You know, it's just definitely it was not Toronto's night. And you know what, Peter? The Lightning kicked it up a notch last night. Everybody was worried about how they do. Kucherov, everybody, they kicked it up a notch. Vasilevsky kicked it up a notch. So if the Lightning stay out of the box, it's going to be tough for Toronto to score 5-on-5.
Absolutely, and we're on with the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning and their victory last night over the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. According to Chris Kren on Twitter, 391 players in NHL history have played 100 or more playoff games. Of those 391, only 5 have averaged more points per game then Nikita Kucherov. Check this out, guys. Gretzky, Lemieux, Messier, Bossy, Curry, and now Kucherov. I mean, just amazing. And you said it best just a couple years ago. Kucherov is kind of like the Magic Johnson of the NHL right now. He doesn't necessarily need to score in order to make an impact, right?
Yeah, and Peter, the two things. The fact that he doesn't get treated as a superstar on the ice by the officials is kind of beyond me. I have no idea how that's working out. But the second thing is, this guy's a Hall of Famer. You look at what he does on the ice, and definitely, he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. The fact that nobody sees that right now, say, he's just with a good team. I'll tell you what, you put him with anybody, the way he can make plays, and he doesn't need to score to be effective, and that's huge.
Yeah, that's definitely huge. All right, I'll tell you what else is huge. You got that Rays shirt on. They have been huge they have been huge the last 2 games. Heck, 16-3 start. I mean, your overall thoughts on this Tampa Bay Rays team. A lot of fans saying, oh, here we go, lose to Toronto last Friday night. This could be what the Rays are. No, not so fast, my friend, as the great Lee Corso would say. 16-3 in the last 2 games, 18 runs. Forget about this team having problems with offense. It doesn't certainly seem like it early on they have any problems at all.
And you know what, Peter? At least 1 home run in all of those 19 games. That's phenomenal.
Yes.
They could tie the record in the next game, 20. But what I like about the Rays is, boy, can they pitch. And I can remember asking Joe Madden this. I said, Joe, what percentage of the game is pitching? He said 90%. I said, what's the other 10%? You know what Joe said? Pitching. And then, good pitching stops good hitting. Great pitching stops great hitting. And again, look at what the Rays have. They got a plethora.
Oh, look at you.
A plethora of arms that can bring it at 95 plus. You know what? That's a tough situation for any team. Is that they just keep bringing these fireballers. And I can remember when Cash got in a little tete-a-tete with another team about this, the beanball incidents. He said, hey, look, I can bring 10 guys in and throw at 97. You want to keep this up? Fine. Let's see what happens. But again, Peter, here's the funny thing. Right now, the Bucs are the 3rd team in this town. And I know that's not sitting well in that locker room. But if you had a choice right now to go to a Lightning, a Rays, or a Bucs game, I think that's kind of be the order people would be in. It's just that's the way it is.
Well, so, I wish ownership was like that, because I feel like the Lightning, the Bucs, and then the Rays ownership. But you're exactly right. The excitement of this Rays team right now has been amazing. The Tampa Bay Lightning, probably the greatest organization in all of professional sports. With the
Jeff Vinnick is the best owner in all of sports.
I love him. I wish Jeff Vinnick owned the Tampa Bay Rays. Just saying, nothing against. Well, you know how I feel about Stu. With that,
it may happen, Peter, because I'll tell you what. If you're going to sell the team, and a memo to the owner of the Tampa Bay Rays, that's time to sell them is when they're good. And Peter, they're good. When they were 13-0, I put out, if they play 1 game under 500 the rest of the way, that still puts them 12, 13 games over 500. That's 87 wins without anything to worry about. Hey, Peter, real quick update.
Yes, give me an update.
The Islanders are up 3-2, and Florida's up 2-1 on Boston.
Wow. So Boston having a little bit of struggles there, of course, setting the NHL record for all-time wins. We know the Tampa Bay Lightning did that 1 year and then got swept out by Columbus, and that's what really kind of turned that franchise around, in my opinion. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What were your thoughts on the comments from Tristan Wirfs, basically in so many words, paraphrasing, was a gift and a curse to win the Super Bowl. Some guys went in their own way. Some guys were about the team. What did you make of that? Who do you think he was calling out? I know who Harry thought he was calling out. I don't necessarily agree with it. But who did you think he was calling out? What did you think of the overall comments? Because it certainly seems like, Wirfs is trying to take you behind the curtain. But on top of it, he's also trying to be a leader of this team, and he certainly sounds like a captain the other day, right?
Yeah, he does. And again, Peter, the only problem is you don't want your offensive tackle being the main captain.
Hmm.
It's got to be that guy under center because that's just the way of the world in the NFL. Who was he calling out? Peter, that's an excellent question. I don't know if he was calling out anybody or he's just calling out a group of people who decided to take the money and run.
Right.
Which is kind of up 2-2. Florida, Boston tied up. Just happened.
Well, there you go. There you go right there. We were talking stuff about Boston, and then sure enough, Boston scores here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. With that being said, are you convinced now that he's going to be – he talked about it. This was a big story coming out. He's worked both sides. Are you convinced that they're going to go with him on the left side? I'm telling you right now, I think that Jason – a lot of people say Darnell Wright. I love Darnell Wright at Tennessee, but what if I told you Luke Gedeke – the in-house option, who, by the way, just a year removed from being a second-round pick, and his natural position is on the right side. Why don't you pass on offensive tackle if you're Jason Light? Go for an edge rusher or go for a corner at the end of the day. What do you think about that?
Peter, 3 words. Trust your board.
Okay.
Whatever they have on that board is what they need to go by. And again, they can't be in there shucking and jiving and figuring out late what the heck happened. They need to look at that board and they need to follow it down. Now, if they want to move up, again, Peter, from 19, you better have somebody on your board that's 11 or 12 or higher if you're going to move up. You're not going to move from 19 to get a guy you have at 17. So, yeah, they got to trust their board and they got to figure out what they want. That's the big thing.
All right, let's go back out to these comments here. Some of them are kind of silly, but I'm going to read them anyway. Let's see. One said, I can't believe we got rid of Nacho. He was actually good and should have been a starter. Of course, he moved on to the New York Giants. Roger says, go Leafs. Troy says, Peter said LeBron is better than MJ. Now, I know you're lying about that. You deserve that.
This guy sucks.
No Penguins. Good luck to the Lightning. Thank you, Ralph. Roger says, Peter never said that. Quit lying. Troy again. Peter said Little Caesars is better than the Hungry Howies. That's lies. Brady says 3 up early there. Toronto's head hunting. Roger says Hungry Howies, Caesars are both trash. Roger, Howies, Ben. Lightning and 6. You agree with that assessment by Ben Cornett from Las Vegas?
That's what I said, Peter. If Edmund and Chernak can play, Lightning and 6.
And I notice you're a man on the couch like John Cooper likes to call you. I love this setting right here. You're relaxed. We got you on a pitch count tonight. We got the great TJ Rives coming up at 9:30, so we'll get you out of here in just a little bit. Mom, of course, says watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area with 1252 Chicago Sports Entertainment, Amped Up Sports. Great to see you, Leo Haggerty. Great show as always. Thank you, Mom. Appreciate it. Check is in the mail. Devin White for requesting a trade. I mean, what do you make of that situation? What is his value? Because for me, I don't think Jason Light's trading him. There has been a rumor out there kind of floated that you look, and this is from Joe Bucs fan. You trade him at number 2. You trade him and number 19 and number 2, and you get up and possibly take a quarterback like a CJ Stroud because it's looking like Bryce Young.
Wait, Peter, hold on.
Yeah.
Trade number 19 and who?
And Devin White.
To move up to number 2?
Yes.
Not happening.
I don't think so either. It's a crazy.
That'll get you up to 8 or 9. That won't get you to 2.
Right.
That ain't happening.
And I don't know what Devin White's value is because again we've seen flashes of brilliance, but the problem is he is so inconsistent. So what do you think Jason Light does? You have to force him to play under that 5th year. Devin White continues to have contact or make contact with the Philadelphia Eagles on social media. I mean, what do you make of this whole situation with Devin White and this saga going on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Peter, the things we said about Devin White and his counterpart, they're not cover linebackers. They're downhill linebackers. We knew that. They don't cover well. And again, they're not in there to cover well. They're in there to stop the run. And again, what's the first prerequisite of a defense? Make a team one-dimensional. Stop the run. And, Devin White and Devontae, they stop the run. Now, they got to get some big pass rush. And again, when they lost their edge rusher, that hurt because that's one of the guys they needed to injury. Now he's back, so they got to come up with some major pass rush situations because you've got, and again, they've got those two tackles.
Mm-hmm.
They got the big guys. They're going to force people to, Vita Vea forces the double team. So that's what you're looking for. That's going to free up your edge guys. They got to come up. And again, they got to get some big play out of Nelson. They got to get some big play out of Joe. He's got to come up. He got to really step up now.
And that's why I think they could go with edge rusher because you have Shaq Barrett who's coming off an injury, and you're not sure if he's going to be 100% healthy. You've already got Haggerty at the right side who's played that in college. You invested a 2nd-round pick. I mean, I get you want to trade. You want to get an offensive lineman possibly to help your team. A lot of people are thinking they just keep Tristan at the right side. I think they're going to go left side, Haggerty at the right side, and they're going to pass on that position depending on who's on the board at the end of the day. I think you go more edge rusher, possibly even a safety / hybrid corner and a Brian Branch from Alabama. But for me, I think, edge rusher is a lot more important. Speaking of defensive tackles, what did you make of Gerald McCoy's retirement? A lot of controversy right now between Bucs fans. Does he belong in the Ring of Honor or not? Why or why not, in your opinion?
He does. And here's why, Peter. Ron Jaworski told me for a 4-year stretch, Gerald McCoy was the best defensive tackle in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Watching film. And again, he played on a Bucs team that had nobody else on defense. It was, Mother Hubbard's cupboard was bare. That's for sure.
Right.
And he was the only light. He was getting double and triple teamed all season. Never complained. Just went out and did his job. And that's when, it was between him and Sue coming out. And, he deserves to go up in the Ring of Honor.
All right. Yeah. And I look at the statistics at the end of the day, and I feel like he does. And he was one of the best players in the Bucs era, even though it wasn't a great defense, even though he didn't make a lot of great plays at the end of the day. I think his biggest indictment is being compared to Warren Sapp. A lot of fans expected him to be like that. It's just not going to happen. Sapp was a once-in-a-lifetime player, and he's also a once-in-a-lifetime jackass off the field. But at the end of the day, McCoy was one of the top players of that defense, even though the defense wasn't good, and you have Levante David. So I definitely think they both belong in the Ring of Honor. Let me go back out to the comments. Roger says, kayfabe is alive. We miss Gordon Soley. You remember Gordon Soley, right?
Oh, yeah. Gordon Soley, the voice of Florida wrestling.
Yes, absolutely. On Saturday nights on Channel 44. Yes. Hi, Melissa Louise. How are you? Mom again. How about those Tampa Bay Rays, Tampa Bay Lightning, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting all set to go? Let's go out to Christopher Cole here. $1.99 super chat. Appreciate it. That's when you give money, Troy, to the cause. We appreciate that. Thanks for the super chat there. Roger says, no one cares about hockey, bro. This ain't the North. Everybody cares. It's hockey town here. That's how you do it, Troy. Ralph says, Leo with the polar pop. Roger said, big gulp is better than a polar pop. Corey says, my pick at 19 is Michael Mayer, tight end from Notre Dame. What would you think about them going with a blocking tight end? A lot of people compare him to Baby Gronk. You draft Cade Otton in the 4th round last year. You go tight end at number 19. Again, history repeating itself. You went O.J. Howard in 2017. You go Michael Mayer again?
I don't think so, Peter. Again, my rule is start at the ball and work your way out.
Mm.
And I still think an offensive tackle is not out of the realm of possibility.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Darnell Wright. Thanks a lot, Roger, for the super chat of $1. Let's see here. I don't have Michael Myers at 19. And Mickey says, let's go Kraken tomorrow. Of course, that was the big story. Also defeating the champs there. The
Colorado Avalanche, yeah.
Amazing. And their first playoff game, not bad, Seattle Kraken. With that being said, Joe Bucs fan kind of mentioned something about not drafting a player because the fans won't necessarily embrace it. Have you ever heard or seen anything? You've been in front offices before. Have front offices stayed away from certain players because they feel like there's going to be some blowback from fans over that pick?
2 words, Randy Moss.
Okay.
Again, I came out and I got crucified for this, Peter. I said, when teams come up on the board and Randy Moss is still there, the coach is going to look at the owner and they're going to get this or they're going to get this. And I also said, Randy Moss will go to a team with a black head coach. Guess what? He did. Dennis Green. And again, that made it a little more palatable for the fans. But you know what, Peter? The fans have convenient Alzheimer's. All of a sudden, if you can play,
sure,
they don't care what you've done.
No, they don't. And I remember, Randy Moss, if he was on the board, a lot of people anticipated that if the Bucs were on the board at the time, and I believe they traded out of the pick. But if he were
can I give you a little bit of insight into that?
Sure, give me some.
I got a look at the Bucs board that year by mistake. Somebody opened the door and I just looked in. Randy Moss wasn't even on the board.
See, and that's crazy for me, and I understand the character issues. Is that the same thing that a lot of teams are going through right now with Jalen Carter? Because you hear very reports. First, he starts out as the number 1 overall player. He's dominant, but then you hear from Rick Spillman, who does 33rd podcast, how he takes off plays. You have all the red flags off the field. Some teams don't have him. Where do you think he goes? Could he possibly drop down to Harry's team here? Harry the Greek, Roger Shue, Travis Faley out there, the Chicago connection. Could he drop down to the Chicago Bears at number 9?
Yeah, absolutely. And Peter, if you have this run on quarterbacks like you're thinking, I'm not, but all of a sudden, if 5 quarterbacks go early, and I mean, you may end up with 4 of them going in the top 10.
Yeah.
You may. Again, CJ Stroud, yeah. Levens, yeah. The kid from Alabama, he's 5'10". I'm sorry. That's asking a lot. Richardson, there's not enough data. Somebody's going to take a shot at these guys. It's just a matter of where on the draft board.
Well, remember, we have a bet out there. Let's put it out there. We got 8 days into the NFL draft. I'll allow you to get out of it. Anthony Richardson is going top 10 for wings. You ready for it,
Peter? Not a chance.
All right.
Not that at all.
All right, you're all in. I'm getting those wings, my friend. Anthony Richardson might go top 5. Leo Haggerty, go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend.
Yeah, check us out at Amped Up Sports. We covered the USF spring game, and I have been credentialed for all the playoff contests. So Monday night, Peter, I'll be giving you a call to update from Amalie Arena.
I love it. Absolutely love it. We'll definitely get you back on here on the Evolution because we'll be on Monday night. Hopefully we can get you on video. The legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty. Thanks a lot for your time here on the Sports Web, my friend. All
Always
right.
a pleasure, Peter, and I'm keeping those dates open for the draft. Maybe we end up somewhere. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see where we end up. We're still trying to work on that. We're working on that as we speak.
All right, have a good one.
All right, there you go. There's the legend himself. I tell you what, let's go ahead and get my co-host on here, and then we'll go out to our special guest, Mr. TJ Rives. There we go with my co-host, Mr. Harry the Greek. Professional handicapper extraordinaire at 1252 Chicago Sports. Welcome to the Evolution, my friend. How you doing on this happy hump day?
Pretty good, man. Hump day.
Oh, hump day. Let me go in and play
Hump
it.
day.
There we go. 8 days away from the NFL draft. We got to get Mr. Buccaneer himself of the Buccaneer Radio Network, sideline reporter. To me, he's also a Tampa Bay legend in my book, the human lottery ticket, because every time I get around him, I always cash in here. Mr. TJ Rives, welcome to the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. How'd you like that intro, my friend?
What an intro. And I'm here with the Greek and the great Leo Haggerty on right before us. I feel honored to be with you guys here. And geez, we only have to talk about who might get drafted for 8 more days before it actually happens. I think Harry knows this. Peter, I think you've learned this. Leo would preach to this. From about this point on, if not from about this weekend on, believe absolutely nothing of what you're hearing, except on the sports web. You can believe Peter on the sports web. But other than that, believe absolutely nothing else of what you're hearing out there about who's going where, beyond like the first pick or maybe the second pick. Oh, this guy's stock is moving up. He's got great upside. What? Look at the potential. Look at the measurables and all. Oh, this team's going to trade up. Oh, this team's looking to trade. Believe none of it. Believe none of it. I'm not saying on this show, this segment right now, but like moving forward, be very skeptical of what you're hearing.
Because it is.
So what you're saying is believe ungazza, right? Means nothing. Ungazza.
Nada. Nada in the Espanol. Nada. Nothing.
I got to ask you something, TJ Rives, because we got a side bet going on. I want to know.
I heard you.
Get in
there. I heard you.
God.
Anthony Richardson in the top 10.
I think you got wings coming to you. He is going to go in the top 10. Someone will race up in like, Harry, are you with me? Somebody will race up in the top 5. Somebody will.
That's the bet that I have with Peter. He gave me top 5. I was like, zero chance. And if
zero chance top 5. But here's the thing. It's not what you would do. Peter, it's not what you would do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what TJ would do. But there's going to be a team that is just in love with how he has looked in shorts and in the workout, and is going to ignore the fact that he at times looked like he was throwing the ball with a blindfold on for the Florida Gators.
Sure.
There will be somebody that will ignore that and will I mean, we saw Harry the Greek, the Chicago Bears, not that many years ago, fall absolutely madly in love with who? Mitch Trubisky.
Yep.
So much so that they gave the San Francisco 49ers a first-round pick, and Peter's got his head in his hands to move up one spot. Uno spotto.
Hold on.
Yes. Do not take Patrick Mahomes, by the way, to take Mitch Trubisky. So I submit to you, Greek, Mighty One. If something like that can happen, you're telling me somebody's not going to race up that's in love with Anthony Richardson's workouts? I'm not saying I would do it.
You got a point, TJ. Damn, you got a point. But I'm going to tell you this. Did you know via 670 The Score ESPN Radio 1000 out of Chicago?
Very nice.
They had an interview with Patrick Mahomes' father. And did you know, get this, after they visited, the Bears actually called him days before the draft and said, "Be ready, son. We are picking you. We're moving up a spot to make sure we get you."
You know what this sounds like to me, TJ? And let's go back into a time machine here. This sounds like the time where John Gruden actually had Jerry Rice come out to California to do a workout with Aaron Rodgers, and he assured him if Rodgers was on the board, he would take him. He also did the same thing with the wide receiver from the Detroit Lions at the time, Mike Williams.
A Tampa guy, a USC guy.
Right, who turned into
they told him, if you are there, Harry, similar story, we're going to take you in the top 5. And it not only wasn't Aaron Rodgers and it wasn't Mike Williams, it was another Williams, it was Cadillac Williams. That they ended up drafting in that draft in the 2005 draft.
What a memory you got.
Well,
they pay us for something to try to keep track of that. And look, I mean, again, believe nothing, even from the teams, apparently, on what you are going to hear, even from a team to players and to the player's agent about what's going to happen. I mean, another classic example, not just Rodgers. Rodgers was in full free fall that year in the draft, and that was that same 2005 draft. But I mean, look at Josh Rosen a few years ago. Josh Rosen was convinced out of UCLA that he was going to be like the second guy taken behind Baker Mayfield. And he was not only not the second guy taken, but I want to say there were 2 other guys, right? Sam Darnold and 10th, somebody else, and he ended up going 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Lamar Jackson went all the way at the bottom of that first round, which was to Baltimore, which was crazy.
Right.
That Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, help me out, Peter, Josh Rosen, and there's a
Josh Allen who traded
Allen who turned out to really be a find for Buffalo and has been tremendous.
Yep.
And by the way, if Lamar goes somewhere else, then Josh Allen is the only guy still with his team like 5 years later. That's incredible. Yeah. Mayfield, Darnold, Josh Rosen all the way out of the NFL, by the way. And Lamar Jackson may be on another team. that he would be the only one with his team. Again, we just emphasize this.
Wow.
Everybody goes gaga, especially over the quarterbacks, and somebody's going to move up. I think you're solid, Peter, on top 10 with Anthony Richardson. It's not that I would do it. It's not that Harry would do it, but somebody's going to move up to grab him.
The young man from Georgia, do you think he goes top 5, top 10?
You're talking about Jalen Carter, the defensive lineman.
Yes, sir. Do you think that he makes it out of the top 10? Hypothetically,
no.
I don't either. I mean, and everybody's talking about, the Bears have a chance of getting him. I don't think he makes it out of top 5.
Probably not. And there are background problems with the whole street racing thing, but he's a tremendous defensive tackle from an SEC football factory right now. Georgia back-to-back national championships. I'm with you. He does not get to the Bears at 9? He doesn't get to number 9. Because, again, it's the same thing. That if he is sitting there at 5 and somebody,
he's got to get by Seattle.
That has a good defensive line, somebody that has a good defensive line that's sitting there at 5 or 6 goes, hey, bring it. Call us if you want him. What's the offer? How many number 1s and number 2s do you want to move up and to do this?
I see Houston dropping from 2 to 4 because I don't think they're going to go out and get a quarterback. Let me be one of the first people out there. I think their quarterback's still in Houston with Davis Mills. They drop back a couple of spots, get a lot of draft capital, and I honestly think that they're going to take Jalen Carter.
Maybe they will. And again, if you can get something that allows you to move backwards, pick up a premium pick or 2, and then maybe you use something to move right back up because the quarterback you want is still sitting there, whoever it is, whether it's Levis, and there's questions about Will Levis, the Kentucky quarterback too. But, maybe you move down and move back up. I know this.
That kid has.
Listen,
my God, does he have a cannon?
He has a big arm. But, I mean, let's be truthful here about this. Houston has slow played this thing for 2 years and had 2 awful seasons. They have got to come out of this draft with a quarterback of the future, whoever that is. Or what's behind door number 2? Who is the quarterback of the future in Houston? While they've had 2 god-awful seasons. So, but you're right. I mean, Jalen Carter, defensive tackle, Georgia, that might make a lot of sense to trade back, grab him, and then trade back up maybe, Peter Blake, and grab a quarterback if you're the Texans. Who knows? It's going to be a wild night a week from Thursday.
Absolutely. And I tell you right now, I want to get this guy in here because I know
a lot of possibilities. Wow,
yes.
It's just all over the place.
He definitely has something to say also.
But who's going number 1, TJ?
Yeah, real quick. Who's going number 1?
CJ Stroud, I say.
No.
Is it Bryce?
Bryce Young will go to Carolina just because of the Alabama factor. I know there's questions about the size.
Really?
Let's go down the roll call, Harry, of Ohio State quarterbacks in the last 25 years.
Oh, God.
Kirk Krenzel?
Yeah.
Who scares you? Troy Smith?
Yeah.
Terrell Pryor?
Ugh.
The what was it? Braxton Miller?
Yeah.
Cardell Jones. Remember Cardell Jones had the Big Ten title game and looked so good in the college football playoff?
Yes, sir.
NFL.
They did nothing.
The late Dwayne Haskins, RIP. Where is there the star from Ohio State at quarterback?
I got the answer.
Yes.
I think it's going to be Justin Fields, although Mike Lombardi, former general manager, does not feel the same way. In fact, he feels like Chicago and Houston are in the same boat. He thinks that Houston, Davis Mills, and Chicago, they don't have a future quarterback at the end of the day.
Fields has more upside than Mills, if I can get that out. Fields more than Mills, tongue twister. Harry, do you believe in Justin Fields right now, 2 years in? Listen to that pause. Listen to the shake.
Let me defend this, okay? Because this is someone, TJ. You know how many years I've been watching the game, and I've been handicapping and breaking game film down. Mobile quarterbacks like this don't make it in the National Football League. With that being said, he was not a run first quarterback in college. He was a passer who could run.
Yep.
Okay? Totally unlike a Lamar Jackson. Do I think he can be the quarterback for the Chicago Bears? Do I think he could be that franchise quarterback? You're going to find out this year. If they decide to cut his runs in half, then yes. If they don't, no, man. It's just you just put them
we're
right
bringing
there
it
with
up in
Craig
the vein
Krenzel's and
of
everybody else. No.
if you are Houston sitting there, or whoever might trade up to number 2, do you take C.J. Stroud with the roll call that I just listed that includes an incomplete grade on Justin Fields as a former number 1 overall pick?
Not the way you have put it. However, with that being said, Justin Fields right now and all the PFF grades and all the prognosticators, they got this guy being the next second coming of Christ for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. Do I think he could be a very serviceable, very good quarterback? Yes. There's questions to me in the fourth quarter. I see brilliance in some of the plays that he makes. I love his elusiveness. I love his arm, but I don't like his decision making. And that, my friend, is what makes a really good quarterback in the National Football League. On the other end of the spectrum, I would have taken, and God, please forgive me, because I know the people in Chicago are going to kill me.
Go ahead.
I'd rather have Davis Mills.
Oh, all right.
Well,
and I'm going to tell you why.
I know why you think so.
A lot less risk, slightly mobile, good arm, and has never had a team around him.
Right.
TJ, I'm telling you, this young man is unfortunately not going to make it in the National Football League if they draft a quarterback. He's going to be a perennial backup who may be 6-7 years down the road of holding a clipboard. All of a sudden, going to be like, hey, man, wow, this guy can actually play. Trust me, this kid can play. He's just had really horrible support around him.
And that's part of the argument, Peter. That's part of the argument about Justin Fields, that he has had, ham and eggers, as is the wrestling term, around him.
Right. I mean, I think it comes back to the case of Jalen Hurts, right? You look at the numbers, you compare those numbers. The second year of Hurts' career, he didn't have a wide receiver. You drafted Devontae Smith. He's more of a 2 than a 1. Then you get A.J. Brown. Then Are
you saying that A.J. Brown made Jalen Hurts a little better quarterback? Absolutely. I think that's exactly what you're saying.
Absolutely what I'm saying. And also, can we all admit that Josh Allen got better because he got Stephon Diggs? So
Amen.
That's what's going to happen in Chicago now, because they've turned around and they've got a true number 1 wide receiver. They're having their supporting cast. Right. And they have two bona fide tight end number 1s on their team.
Yes.
With Runyon on one side and Cole Kmet on the other. So they have addressed that. But you know what they haven't addressed yet, TJ? The offensive line.
That's it.
Got a block for him, too. Well, I mean, we'll see. And a week from Thursday night, all the mayhem is going to go on. And the interesting thing is the Buccaneers are just going to sit back for a while. They're not looking to move up. They're going to sit back for a couple of hours and see what happens in front of them, while they sit there at number 19 and wonder, is it an offensive lineman? Is it a pass rusher? Is it a cover corner? Those are 3 things that I think it's fair to say the Buccaneers could use any one of those 3 things.
I sure as hell hope they go offensive line. I really do hope one of the big 3 offensive linemen make it down to them, take them.
And I don't think they do that. We're on with the great TJ Rives of the Buccaneer Radio Network, professional handicapper extraordinaire, Harry the Greek. I'm your host, Peter Blake, here on the Sports Web, about to get Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy best of the Bay on. But for me, I look at Tristan Wirfs moving to the left side. I think you got your in-house option there with Luke Gedeke. You draft him second round. I don't envision Jason Licht just giving up on that second round pick, whether there's an offensive tackle or not. I think you go edge rusher. I think you could go Brian Branch, or if Hendon Hooker somehow is on the board, I think Jason Licht in this organization is taking a call from somebody to trade out and possibly pick up a first-round pick next year. With that being said, I know you want to comment on this, TJ. Let me go out to Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. I don't know if he's ever been on with us before. Welcome to the Evolution, my friend. How you doing?
This is like the quartet now. You got Ray involved with Harry and with you. I watch you guys all the time. This is like the 4 Musketeers or the 4 Mouseketeers. I'm not sure which.
Now, and coming from a Bucs fan, who's looking forward to the upcoming camp battle between one Kyle Trask and one Baker Mayfield, and you're talking about a Justin Fields and what he does there in Chicago. And I'll balance it with, you had to choose right now between 2 quarterbacks, between Justin Fields and a Trey Lance, who the 49ers are seemingly giving up on now, just 3 years into that experiment. John Lynch seemed all in on that experiment 2 years ago because of Brock Purdy. I ask you guys, would you not, and not just in light of the contract that Jalen Hurts gets this week with the Philadelphia Eagles, but Justin Fields and the talent that kid has, or a possible talent like a Trey Lance. If Dave Canales, if they're looking to build an offense around that type of quarterback that can utilize the run to set up the pass or vice versa, are you in on that?
I mean, I think what he's asking is Trey Lance is on the trading block just a couple years ago.
Are you ready to hear this, guys?
Go, Harry, and then I got something for you.
Are you ready to hear this?
Yes.
Do you know who is leading all betting and proposition wagers as of right now to win the MVP of the National Football League next year?
Lay it on us.
Trey Lance.
Oh, God.
I kid you not. When I see it, I'm like, I'll take the field.
Right.
You're talking about the MVP of the league.
The league.
Not the MVP of the 49ers, for example.
But you're talking about the quarterback of the 49ers,
MVP of the National Football League. I just read on 2 sites.
Brock Purdy's not going to even
got the
play
lowest
next year. I mean, that's
Sam Darnold, is he going to be the guy? Or
the 49ers are not getting rid of Trey Lance, okay? That would look so horrible for that organization. First off, it wasn't even fair for that young man to play in Chicago in that first game and blow his knee out, let alone having him play his first professional game in a mud bowl. I mean, let's call it what it was. TJ, you did hear about that game, right?
Right.
It was a monsoon. Chicago's known to get 12 to 24 inches of snow. They had 6 inches of rain on the ground, for Christ's sakes. You had no footing. And then he blows his knee out. Look, I'm going to bet against that. There's just zero chance, in my opinion, that this young man wins MVP of the league. He's had a half a game in his entire career. Wait a minute. It was 1 quarter, and you want to anoint him?
Wait a minute. You want to anoint Kyle Trask, the starting quarterback, the future franchise quarterback.
Blasphemous.
Buccaneers after 9 snaps. You better
blasphemous,
right now, Harry. TJ.
Blasphemous. You leave my University of Florida quarterback alone. TJ, rip him apart, would you?
I don't know that it's my job to rip him apart. I saw Ray nodding along, though, here, too.
No, that was a gotcha for Peter. I'll say that because, we're on the Kyle Trask train. I like the Eagle Scout. I like the kid that always the number 2, ready to be number 1, gets his chance. If Baker comes in pudgy, if Baker doesn't come in solid shape, if Baker doesn't come in learning this offense down, and I think when you've got a Todd Bowles coach and a defensive-minded Buccaneers team, they don't want a guy that's going to go off script. They want a guy that's going to stand in the pockets and deliver. Had 2 years behind Tom Brady. I at least give Kyle Trask the chance. What do you say? What do you say there?
Absolutely. You have to find out. We keep saying this, Peter. You have to find out whether or not he can play. And the only way to find that out is
put him out there.
It's a true competition in training camp. Yes. Absolutely, Harry. And in preseason, and find out what he can do with Baker Mayfield right there. They're both 1A, whichever you prefer. Give them snaps with the first team, training camp, practices with another team. If that's the case, the reps in the practices with another team in a preseason game, how do they look in preseason with the first team in the first half of the game? And then, I would not be opposed to seeing both of them play early on in the year because you're trying to figure out under live fire, can one of these guys be the future? Because right now they're inexpensive. I mean, Kyle Trask only costing like $1.3 million. Yeah. As a former second-round pick. Baker Mayfield signed for $4 million. That is peanuts.
That
for
is
NFL
backup money, gentlemen.
And so now you have a year to figure out which one of these guys by October looks like the guy, or do neither of them look like the guy?
And TJ, though,
put that comment up for TJ, would you, from Roger?
TJ, I posed that as a good competition between these two at quarterback is going to make the other 51 in the room play even harder. I think that's how you build a narrative going into camp. That's how you get through the summer doldrums, those long summer camps.
Absolutely.
You've got a great competition at quarterback between these two, and may the best man win. But at the end of the day, I think the Buccaneers team overall wins. But really, Jason Light is the best general manager in football wins.
I mean, do you think there's a possibility, let's say a Will Levis out of Kentucky who has a big arm, but there's a lot of question marks, there's some red flags. Let's say a Hendon Hooker who's coming off an injury. If he's there at 19, even with all the needs this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team has, do you think there's a possibility they can draft a quarterback this year, TJ?
I don't think in the first round. I don't think you're going to see it in the first round. I think would they move down and look at something later? And keep in mind, you still have free agency next year where there's going to be quarterbacks. You have a draft next year when it's a better, the likes of Caleb Williams and a couple of others are still going to be available in next year, the 24 draft. I believe actions have spoken loudly here. You've made your decision that you're going to find out if your second-round pick, who's been waiting patiently, can play. And you brought in Baker Mayfield, a former number 1 overall pick, who is basically on a prove it or he might. I mean, this is the truth. I think Baker knows this. Prove it or you might be in the XFL and the USFL. Because how many more teams are going to give you a chance when you're on team number 4 to be their starting quarterback, unless you're going to be relegated to just being a backup quarterback that only plays in the event of injury or something else happens to somebody else. So I love the prospect of the competition. I think Baker Mayfield is looking forward to it. I think Trask is looking forward to it.
Yes.
And I like what Ray said. It's going to maybe make that room be on notice that with the exception of guys like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Vita Vea, Rashad White, Carlton Davis, those guys know I'm secure. I'm going to be a starter. With the exception of maybe the upper, 7 or 8 players on this team, everybody else is going to be looking around going, maybe my job's in jeopardy if I don't bust it in this training camp, in this preseason. Somebody else will be playing instead of me. That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. And I tell you right now, go ahead, Harry. I don't want to interrupt you.
No, I didn't want to interrupt either. But, I just want to piggyback on something that both of you guys were talking about. First off, I want to tell you who I thought the best quarterback in this draft was, and he's not healthy yet. And when he becomes healthy, I assure you he's the best quarterback, but he's not first round worthy. And that's Hendon Hooker. Okay. I mean, this young man can play this position. I'll tell you what I watched what he did against Alabama, that wasn't a freak. This young man can play the game. But at 25 years old, that's why I don't think you take this young man in the first round. That's the only reason why.
Well, 58 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, but he plays against top competition in the SEC. You're on the Sports Web right now. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports, Mr. Harry the Greek of the Buccaneer Radio Network, the human lottery ticket on my show, Mr. TJ Rives, and, of course, best of the Bay, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy here on the Evolution. With that being said, offensive line, I asked you the question, do you think it's a dead giveaway, TJ, that because they're going with Tristan, he's working both sides at the end of the day, that maybe offensive line isn't the biggest need, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, you have a couple of draft picks in Robert Hainsey and Luke Gedeke that you believe can help you. Ryan Jensen returns at center, so does Hainsey become the left guard? Automatically, you traded Shaq Mason as the right guard. Does Hainsey become the right guard? Luke Gedeke's natural position at Central Michigan was what? Right tackle. Yep. So is he automatically the right tackle and Wirfs is the left tackle? I do not believe it is just a foregone conclusion that Tristan Wirfs is moving over about 10 feet to the left side of the line. Certainly his bank account, his agent, his family, his significant others, they want him to be a left tackle because you get paid drastically more to play left tackle and block the blind side of the quarterback. But I don't know that the Buccaneers don't say, you know what, he's going to be a lockdown right tackle for the next 5 years, 8 years, whatever it is, Tristan Wirfs. Let's leave that alone and let's draft a left tackle potentially. Then again, they could have the mindset that Luke Gedeke can play right tackle. And we saw it at the end of last year in the Atlanta game, and they probably have seen him work some in practices for what it's worth at right tackle. And maybe that's what they're going to go with, move Wirfs over to the left side and take something else in the first round. Again, actions will speak very loudly. Like, for example, if the Buccaneers are sitting there at 19 and a couple of those mammoth tackles, the Georgia offensive tackle and or the Tennessee offensive tackle are sitting there, and the Bucs don't pick, and the Bucs don't make a pick with those guys sitting there, then that tells you they have more than likely decided Tristan Wirfs is going to be the left tackle, Luke Gedeke is going to be the right tackle, and let's go for it. So actions or inactions a lot of times will speak volumes on draft night.
And I look at it is a great point. I look at the transition process, how many rookie left tackles, and then you're talking about a new quarterback. It's either Kyle Trask, who's basically a rookie, or Baker Mayfield. You're putting a rookie, that transition process of a rookie left tackle is not necessarily the best. So I'd rather go with somebody like a Tristan Wirfs, instead of somebody you don't at the end of the day. With that being said, Speaking of somebody you know, Devin White, what do you make of this whole situation? The trade request, first and foremost, did that surprise you? And just talk about this whole situation in general, TJ, in your opinion about Mr. White.
Well, look, he's a very likable, energetic guy, and there's no doubt he has got talent sideline to sideline, especially in the run game, running people down. He may be the fastest linebacker in the NFL, sideline to sideline. Now, there are question marks about his ability to cover people in pass coverage, and the Buccaneers have a monstrous decision to make. I mean, you're talking about, okay, if you're going to pay him $125 million guaranteed to be your middle linebacker, then that means you believe he's that guy for the next 4 or 5 or 6 years, whatever the length of that deal is.
Sure.
And obviously for right now, they're not willing to go for that. They're not. I think part of this is incentive of let's see you demonstrate again in this training camp, in this preseason, and as this season begins, that your commitment, your enthusiasm to get better every day, even in year 5, is saying to us, you are the long-term middle linebacker. And I know there's a school of thought that he has soured on this situation, guys, and that maybe you can't welcome that back because he's put things on social media, etc. I don't know that that's the case, but I mean, for right now, it's rather obvious by action or inaction, they don't believe right now he is deserving of the monstrous deal, or they would have given it to him.
Well, Peter, go back to 2018 draft we had down at the Fergs down there when they drafted Devin White, the outstanding linebacker out of LSU. He was already working on his second contract. That was the biggest line we used that entire night. Jason Light makes the move, drafts the young linebacker, puts him in the back with Levante David, and brings this defense along as he continues to build that defensive line and get some maturity there in the secondary. We even said at the time that just wasn't the kind of linebacker we thought Jason Light would be drafting. That wasn't the kind of team that he was building. Come to find out, Devin White's the kind of character that we have, the kind of character Buccaneer players have, but that $20+ million contract, when you got so much emphasis on his defensive line and then trying to build that secondary, maybe we've been spoiled. We've had Levante David going on 12 years, 13 years, going to wear the throwbacks this year, but we even knew that night, guys. I think all three of us agree that night when the Bucs drafted him, we were like, wow. And your line, Pete, was, well, it serves a need, but it was at the same time, it was a bit of a surprise for the GM, Jason Light.
Well, because at the time, position of middle linebacker is not necessarily the best position, right? You're not looking to see it's not a defensive end. It's not a quarterback per se. You're not paying a guy $20 million, and that's exactly what the rumor was when White was coming out of LSU. Is he wanted that $100 million, but at the time it was a big time need. But there was also question marks because he was raw. He was just changing over his position from being a running back with LSU to becoming a linebacker. We knew the athleticism was there, but the technique, the coverage skills, could he be a tackler? He's regressed the last couple years here because we know what's Devin White. Is he the 2020 version of Devin White, or is he the guy in 2022 who's not necessarily given the best effort? And to be fair, he did lose his father, so it's a big time deal at the end of the day. But still, you got to be a professional about it. And even Warren Sapp called him out on effort on film. There's been a lot of people. And then if you're a staple, is the run defense, whether you have injuries or not, you have to do better than what you did last year. And that's why this defense suffered, because I think it's lack of effort, lack of leadership at the end of the day. Just my opinion.
I don't think he regressed. I think he got exposed. There's a big difference there, Peter. Listen, he's a really good linebacker. Is he $20 million a year worth it? No, absolutely not. There is one glaring hole in his play, and that's for coverage. And unfortunately, these type of linebackers in today's National Football League have to be able to cover.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they have to.
Well, Harry, the biggest flaw, the biggest thing that exposed him, of course, was the injury to Shaq Barrett and the young Joe Tryon-Shoyinka over there and Sack Avenue underneath. And I mean, the fact that we had that thing going
Great point.
So, I mean, yeah, you're right. But I mean, if Shaq Barrett is there in all of 2022, and then Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who I think James Canada, former Buccaneer, number 98, your program, number 1 in your heart, hosted a Big Game Sports Buzz. Him and I both agree that Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, I think, is on par for a double-digit sack season in 2023. I'm just going to put it out there. Call me wrong. 13 months from now, maybe you guys are laughing at how silly I was. But if you get that pressure up front, then the speed and the backside pursuit that Devin White brings to a defense, that becomes every bit almost worth that $21 million. But when you're spending $50 million on a receiving core and you're spending $80 million up front on the defensive line, you do have to ask yourself, how much am I willing to spend? Even though that's a great heart in the middle and hustle, how much am I willing to spend for that middle linebacker?
Can't spend it. Just you can't spend that kind of money with the future contracts that they're going to have to be unloading here.
The only
TJ,
thing,
what's your
thing that I will say is they have done this before. They've set these things into motion before, and if he demonstrates that he can improve in coverage, can improve in the areas they want him to improve, time and again, Jason Light has rewarded whomever with contract extensions and gotten the deal done. So, I mean, we've been sitting around wondering, could this team keep Jamel Dean? Would Jamel Dean be gone?
Yeah.
I mean, because he could be an unrestricted free agent, and they went ahead and put the franchise tag on him because obviously they see enough, and Jason Light sees enough in rewarding one of his own guys again, just like Chris Godwin, rewarding him, just like rewarding Shaq Barrett with a massive deal after he played on a franchise tag. He has constantly rewarded his own guys. And I think that's the course of action here. That's the game plan of, hey, Devin, you're getting paid handsomely on the 5th-year option deal. Now demonstrate you can be $100 million, $125 million middle linebacker for this team. And I know, Harry, you got your doubts. There's plenty of people that got doubts.
No, but that's a perfect point because I didn't know that.
The proof will be whether or not he gets better and whether he improves. And if he doesn't, welcome to the NFL. You're not going to get, unlike Peter Blake making $125 million on the sports web, you're not just going to get $125 million. I'm not Harry the Greek. I'm not just going to get $125 million.
TJ, when I hear you saying that, though, TJ, when I hear you, and maybe I'm just, okay, the Rays are 15-3 and in first place, the best team in entire Major League Baseball, 16-3, setting records since it's the 1900s. The Lightning win Game 1 there in Toronto last night. Maybe I'm just being a little bit over gluttonous here, but when I hear you say that Devin White proved that you're worth that deal, and as these contracts all come up, isn't that what a great general manager does? He sets these contracts in motion years in advance so that he knows this guy will be doing, this guy will be on a contract here, this guy will be franchised, this guy. That's exactly what a great general manager does. That's what the Buccaneers, since Rich McKay, that we haven't had here in Tampa Bay, that we do have with Jason Light, and it's exciting. I think it's an exciting thing to be a Buccaneer fan and the things that are in motion now.
And that's why you have the faith in this organization that they're going to do right. And if they make White play under that 5th-year option, so be it. At the end of the day, for me, he should play under that 5th-year option to show that he's the player that is worth that $100 million. With that being said, TJ, I know you got to run here in just a little bit. Got to get your thoughts about Gerald McCoy, just retired. A lot of controversy. Where do you stand on this? Should he be in the Ring of Honor, in your opinion? Yes or no?
Absolutely, yes. And I am not objective when it comes to him. First thing, let's get that out there. Okay. He is one of my guys for a couple of reasons. Number one, I sat with him every week during bad Buccaneer football game after bad Buccaneer football game, and he would sit there live, including taking calls from the audience week after week after week. Stand-up guy, always at his locker, always there after games. And there, look, the Buccaneers are firing Raheem Morris, hiring and firing the name we don't mention, hiring and firing Lovie Smith after that, and Gerald McCoy is left to stand there. Plus, they're recycling quarterback situations after quarterback situations with Josh Freeman, then Josh McCown and Mike Glennon, then Jameis Winston. And the quarterback play is subpar to bad. And Gerald McCoy's having to stand there and answer for it as a defensive tackle that's playing at a Pro Bowl level. Stand-up guy through and through. And so, yes, he deserves to be in the Ring of Honor. It is a shame. It is an absolute shame that he did not get to play in a playoff game in Tampa Bay through no fault of his own, because he and Levante David were playoff caliber players for about 6 or 7 years in a row. It's just what was around him. Harry, we're back to talking about Justin Fields or Davis Mills that you're in love with. If you don't have anything around you, it ain't going to happen. And it didn't happen for those guys.
TJ, can I back you up for a second, though?
Go ahead.
Before we lose you, because, brother, it's an honor to be on here with you tonight. I'm glad we got to do this. I hope we make this a regular thing. But I totally agree, and I'll come around to what I said. When Gerald McCoy first left here and they gave Ndamukong his number and he set out the door that it was a surprise, I didn't totally buy into that. But the truth is, and I've never not understood this fact for over a decade. As much as a lot of people early on wanted Gerald McCoy to be the next Warren Sapp, they wanted to find lightning in a bottle. That wasn't what Gerald McCoy was. Gerald McCoy was a great defensive lineman, but he was, TJ, you're right, and I want to cut it short, but he was, for the better part of a decade, he was the heart and soul of this team. And the fact that he's not in that Ring of Honor, and you could put him ahead of Simeon Rice, you can put him ahead of James Wilder, we can talk about the old scorers deserve to be in there. Gerald McCoy retiring this year, I 100% agree with you, brother. I'm glad you said that tonight, because you really made me come around even sooner on it. I would have gotten there eventually, but it's so true. For a decade, he was the heart and soul of this Buccaneers team.
I have a question for TJ. Then why are there so many not too many, a couple of ex-players, and forget about the amount of fans, but why are some of the players so against what Gerald McCoy was and what he stood for in this team? I don't know.
I don't know.
Get it. The guy laid it on the line every single game.
Correct.
And by the way, it was like, what was it, 2 months ago I said something about this, Peter?
No, you did. Yeah. You did. Absolutely, you did. And you were absolutely correct.
Well, part of it is criticism that he would help people up off the ground after he sacked them. Warren Sapp was getting on him for that. And I loved, we were doing this radio show one night, and he said, that's who I am. That is the type of player I am. That's the sportsman that I am. And if you don't like it, this is about as aggravated as he got on the radio show. He said, kiss my butt. Kiss my butt. I'm going to pick somebody else's butt up off the ground. And if that's what I want to do, that's what I'm going to do after I tackle him. So again, the guy is a lovable, fun guy that, again, I can't emphasize enough, was a stand-up guy on so many bad teams. It's kind of like the Paul Gruber thing, and you put Paul Gruber in the Ring of Honor. He finally got rewarded at the very end of his career as the left tackle to play in a playoff season in a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
And Gerald McCoy didn't get that opportunity. Levante David thankfully got that opportunity. He came the year after Gerald, or maybe 2 years after Gerald. He got to play in playoff games. He stuck here long enough and re-signed and stuck here long enough.
Playoffs.
And look, it's the whole thing of does a Hardy Nickerson or a James Wilder or a Mike Evans deserve it before him down the road? Mike Evans isn't going to be retired for 3 or 4 years. But do guys like Hardy James Wilder, do they deserve it before him? You can make that argument. You can make that argument that they played long ago. But I mean, again, James Wilder never, in my recollection, James Wilder never played on a winning team after his rookie year. His rookie year was 82, the strike year, or 82, the playoff year.
Mm-hmm.
81 was the strike year. We're going way back.
Yeah.
James Wilder didn't play on a winning team after that, the rest of his Buccaneer career, with all the stats and all the numbers.
But TJ, as much as Gerald McCoy, though, for a decade, so the body of work was a lot greater, there was a very long time where James Wilder was the heart and soul of this Buccaneers team. As we lost that defensive edge, and Leroy Selman and Dave Logan, and we got away from Richard Batman Woods and John McKay, and his team went through that change. So I agree. I mean, I would definitely think that for James Wilder. But Hardy Nickerson and that free agent signing, when he comes here and he says to the rest of the world,
it's a game changer. It's a game changer.
Yes, 100%.
Right up there with Thomas Everett coming from the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, those are the type of players. And at the time,
you hear Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Warren Sapp. All three of them are where? In the Hall of Fame.
Right.
All of them Super Bowl champions with the Buccaneers. They all testify the culture changed with who? With Hardy Nickerson and him setting the tone in the meeting room. Meet me in the film room at 6 a.m. before everybody else is showing up. Meet me on the practice field 30 minutes before we're supposed to be out there to go over things. The culture changed in the mid-1990s with Hardy Nickerson. And so, again, Hardy got to experience the playoffs in 97 and in 99 before he left as a free agent. Actually, I think he had the heart situation in 99, and if I remember correctly, wasn't playing at the end of the year. But during that season, he was playing in 1999 on a playoff caliber team. So those guys, Wilder and Hardy, probably are in the Ring of Honor before Gerald McCoy. But give it 2 or 3 years, and Gerald McCoy should absolutely be there. Put him in.
I agree, and he should be with Levante David. They should go in together with that era of Bucs football. I'll give you a couple other guys here. Mark Carrier. At the time, he was one of the only offensive playmakers. In fact, I think he's one of the only guys.
You look at his numbers, his career numbers. Mike Evans has broken most of his stuff, but Mark Carrier's in the top 2 or 3 on everything. Receptions in a season, yards in a season, yards in a career, catches in a career, blah, 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 blah. Carrier's another interesting one. You can't put everybody in.
And there's
I
a
get
career
that,
Mark
but-
Carrier. He was the only.
I thought we were talking about Mark Carrier, the safety of the Bears.
right.
I'm like, what?
Right.
Mark Carrier.
And I remembered that one.
Mark Carrier had Vinny Testaverde quarterback, and he was he was the only offensive threat for these Buccaneers. So yeah, you talk about the career. TJ, God bless. I'm just so good. When are we going to do this again, brother? This has been
Mark
Carrier
Carrier
again at some point.
Mark Carrier, the Bears could be on the Ring of Honor for the Buccaneers for what he did to the Buccaneers.
That's
oh
true.
my God! Was he
well,
made
the
a career out of
interesting thing, I do know this. I moved to this area in 1983, and the Bears were obviously the Bears throughout the 1980s, and they kicked the crap out of the Buccaneers and everybody else for all those years. What's interesting is if you look at the line of demarcation, like after Tony Dungy showed up, the Buccaneers have kicked the crap out of the Chicago Bears for about 25 years now, Harry. Hate to break it to you. 25, 26, 27 years.
Except for that Super Bowl year.
Well, the one year that the Bears did make the Super Bowl and and the Bucs weren't in the division with them that year, but it's like
Oh, he's talking about 2020. He's talking about the Thursday night game. The fourth down game by.
Is that fourth down?
Yes.
Fourth? No.
Oh, right.
Remind me, did the Bears make the playoffs that year?
No.
Did the Bears even have a winning season that year?
The Bears haven't had a winning
Playoffs?
season since you and I were teenagers.
Playoffs? We're talking Bears and playoffs?
Exactly.
We'll be lucky if
So
they win
all I'm
anything.
saying is every time it comes around, and the Bears are on the schedule again this year.
Yes.
And the Buccaneers, like the Bears used to be, are licking their chops because it's the Bears.
It's the
so
Bears. But what we
TJ, you and I shall talk a little.
we will.
One more.
I'll bring my Super Bowl ring to the next discussion when you bring up the 2020 season again.
I love it. There you go. And we're done to me. Because you're going to put Tom Brady in there, right? And people say, well, Warwick Dunn doesn't deserve to be in there because he wasn't with the Bucs long enough. But not only what he did on the field in his time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but also off the field. How can you not put him in the Ring of Honor?
It's another great debate. But again, I'm of the belief you can't put everybody in. You can't have 57 names all the way around
just make the sign smaller and put them all in.
All right.
There you go. All right,
boys, listen, I promise I will be back. See, here's the thing, Ray. I am on the Buccaneer official draft show on the flagship station on 98 Rock and Buccaneers Radio and the Buccaneers mobile app next Thursday night. We begin at 7 Eastern time.
We'll
and
be calling
TJ
in.
will still be talking at 8 Eastern time when the draft begins. And TJ will still be talking at 9 Eastern time and at 10 Eastern time and long about 10:15 something. The Buccaneers will finally make a pick, we think, unless they trade down. And I will still be talking and hopefully interview the draft pick after it's over. And then we have to stick around till the first round's over because they could trade back into the first round and do something else. So what I'm saying to you is you're going to get plenty of TJ a week from Thursday night. Just tune in. You're going to get all the TJ you want about the draft and about all this stuff going on.
Well, TJ, you forget though. Peter and I had it was an honor to walk with you and spend time with you at the ReliaQuest Bowl this year. And we saw how you run down to the pirate ship to do a CBS Live, to run back up to call the game up in the box, and you guys did a fantastic job with that. So I know how TJ Reeves do.
I'm like trying to nail Jello to a tree, Harry. You're not going to keep me still for very long. These guys showed up. We got in the press area at Raymond James, and I'm like, listen, I got to do a live thing on the CBS station in Champaign, Illinois, because the University of Illinois is playing. I said, you guys want to come with me? And Ray's like, do we want to come with you? Yes. And we went down to the pirate ship about 2 hours before the game and did a live thing to be good to those people because they wanted somebody on to talk live about the ReliaQuest Bowl. So that's what I try to do. And Peter, keep knocking them dead. Harry, keep Peter in line, or Peter, keep Harry in line, or Ray, keep Peter and Harry in line. I'm not sure what's going to happen after I leave, but you guys behave.
All right, good stuff. TJ Rives of the Buccaneer Radio Network. I call him the human lottery ticket on this show. Thanks a lot for your time.
Human lottery ticket. You know, TJ, I would not appreciate that comment.
I know what he means, though.
I know
when
what
he
he
rolls
means
with
too,
me.
But
When he rolls with me, big things happen. Look out.
When he rolls with you, the Rolexes hit.
The Rolex, the Major League Baseball All-Star Game.
Yes.
You never know.
Yes. All right. Good stuff, TJ. Great memories as always. Thanks a lot for your time.
See you, boys.
See you, right. You take care, man. Take care, man.
Good stuff there,
hey,
guys.
Peter. Before I get out of here, I gotta finish with this real quick. I hope that for a whole new generation of Bucs fans that have come around in the last few years, and I don't mean to put down anybody that's locking it down and doing this for a living now here in the local Bay Area, but I hope you guys realize that not only are we talking to TJ Rives, the TJ Rives, but he could come back tomorrow and decide to do local radio, and he'd be number one overnight. That guy was number one back in the day. We love that cat.
Thank you.
It's a true honor. It's an honor.
Please come back to local radio. And I remember his show, and that's the funny story about it, because I actually met him, and I don't know if you guys know the story on the sports web, but I was doing a March Madness broadcast for him, doing an update. I was about 16, 17 years old on his show. And because I did such a great job, he gave me tickets to a Legends game. Well, my legend at the time for a home run derby contest when they had Legends games at Al Lang was George Foster. Now, at the time, I had no idea how great George Foster was. You find out later on, he was the MVP of the league back in the 70s. Well, you win the home run derby contest. If your legend wins the home run derby contest, you get free tickets, all expense paid, a round trip on a plane to Texas for your first Major League Baseball game, and it's in Texas Arlington Stadium for the All-Star game. And I won that off of his show, which is amazing in itself. And then years later, I get an opportunity to get credentialed, and the rest is history for the Rolex. I'm just saying.
Love the guy. Love TJ Rives, one of the best, and I look so forward to everything he's going to continue moving forward. But yeah, getting to spend the day with at the Reliant Quest Bowl.
In order for me, it's Gene and TJ. The end.
Gene and TJ? I know what you're talking about. Gene Deckerhoff. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
All right, let's go back out to the comments here.
I loved it too.
Somebody said, I think Ralph just said Ray has no home, but Ray's the man on the town. That's what he does.
Well, come here, Ruth. Come here.
Where are you at right now?
Up here. I got Ruth here with me.
People don't realize, Ray, it's okay. You can show Ruth. Ray puts a sign around the dog's neck and it says, "Please, I'm hungry." and he puts the can in the front. Don't believe all this stuff. Ray's got two jobs. He works for the city during the day, and he panhandles at night, and poor Ruth takes it all.
All right, let's go on to one of your favorite callers, Mr. Ed from Palm Harbor. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Harry the Greek, and of course.
What's up?
Yes, what's up, Ed? Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy here. What do you have to say, my friend?
Hey, how's it going, guys? What's wrong with you? Harry, you all right, man?
Nothing, man. I love the Bucs. I love the Rays. I love the Lightning. I love the Bucs.
Oh, but Harry, the White Sox come to town. The White Sox come to town Friday night. What do you think about the White Sox Rays series this week?
Go Rays!
Oh God!
Oh, listen to you. I got to play that soundbite. All right, good stuff there, Ed. So, what's on your mind, man? 8 days away from the NFL draft.
About the Rays.
Okay.
I have a hard time getting excited about them because I hate their franchise. But anyways,
go ahead.
What's really going on with Devin White here? He asks to be traded.
Right.
He deserves big money.
Correct.
And he's got a lot of stuff going on there. He's a good pass rusher. He's a good tackler. He's got some sideline to sideline. The only thing he's really missing, I think, is his coverage.
Correct.
And I think if you want to make big money, you got to have it all. I think he needs to prove a little more before he gets the big bucks. He needs to just cool his jets.
Don't forget, Ed. Don't forget. Go back to the Saints game, the Buccaneers 2020, when we end Drew Brees' career with Tom Brady winning, beating them. And going into that game, we were like, wow, the bugaboo. The Bucs are playing in New Orleans against the Saints in the playoffs. That Devin White turnover. In fact, I think he was cause of two, but that one where he either was an interception or a fumble recovery, Peter, and he returns it back. Those were two of the biggest plays in that game at a time. So here's what he's doing, Ed. The guy's just doing it. Don't forget, at the end of the day, this is a business. It really isn't. He knows that he could get lost in this Buccaneers defense if Shaq comes back healthy and Jamal Dean's looking great and Levante's wearing the throwbacks again and then Joe Tryon-Schrank comes on. I mean, so he realizes in this Buccaneers defense, his Todd Bowles-led defense, he could get lost. So he's making the best move for Devin. Even if he's made to stay and play this year, he's putting himself in the front of the narrative, which if, again, and at the end of the day, if Jason Light makes him play the 5th year of his rookie contract and we don't sign him to that big deal second year, we still get another great year out of Devin White, and he still gets what he wants in the end, and that's gets paid. So at the end of the day, I don't think Devin White's the kind of character that's going to become any kind of a problem with the team. He just has to do what's best for Devin White.
Well, and he also has to be a better leader, because I get your contract status and I'm not in his shoes, but it's also, hopefully it doesn't become a distraction to this team, Harry.
That's what I'm
right. I mean, because you need all hands on deck. And that's basically what Tristan Wirfs said a couple of days ago, right, Harry?
Yes, that's exactly what he said.
All right, Ed, what else?
Sorry.
Harry.
Great,
right.
Great analysis.
Yeah. That's a big. You're right, Pete.
Are you excited?
Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh. Did you say Scooby?
Where are you?
All right, Ed. What else?
Here we go again with the Scooby Doo.
Hey, man, don't be knocking on Scooby-Doo, bro.
Who do you hold on here, Roger?
Thelma. I always wanted to be with Thelma.
Shut up.
I always wanted to do Thelma.
Okay. Enough of you. Shut up.
It's the glasses.
Both of you.
Shut up!
Ed, who do you want to see the Bucs draft at 19? Who do you think they should take?
Definitely a linebacker to replace Devin White.
Wow. Okay. Ready to replace him. Okay.
I tend to agree with Ed. I think so. I think Ed, yeah, right?
Is there one worthy enough in the first round?
I don't think there's really one in the first round.
Can you trade back and get draft capital and maybe make yourself in a better position for 2024 and still pick up a linebacker like a Devin, like a Levante David out of Nebraska in the second round? Or can you find?
I guess it comes back to It comes back to how much the Bucs like KJ Britt, because remember they drafted him out of Auburn,
and he's had some flashes.
I say the Buccaneers are going to take a tight end in the first round. They're taking a young man from, you know where? Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Michael Mayer. Hopefully he turns into Michael Myers. Michael Meyer. Is it Michael Meyer or Michael Mayer? It's Michael Meyer, right?
Michael Myers. Yeah.
Michael Myers is Friday the 13th.
Well, no, that's Halloween.
What was that?
Oh, okay.
Jason.
All right. What else, Ed?
Take back and get a left tackle. That's what I think.
Okay. All right. There you go. Good stuff, Ed. Appreciate the call. Yes. Let me go ahead and give me the Macho Man.
Yeah.
Use the second call if you want to. We're getting ready to do Turnbuckle Talk, WWE and AEW.
Bye, Ed.
See you, Ed. All right. Let's go out to Roger Shoe here.
Acknowledge me.
What do you have to say there, Greek guy? Welcome to the evolution.
The sacred Greekites. Please speak.
All right, David
Greekites
Koresh.
in the house.
Yes.
Koresh.
Yes, Greek.
Why do Greek guys have mustaches?
All right.
Oh,
Before we
God.
So they can look like our mothers.
You said that. You said that.
in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Trask. Amen.
All right. There you go. All right, Roger. What else?
All right. Troy is out of his mind.
Okay, why is he out of his mind?
Well, he's Troy.
Well, yeah, he never calls. He never contributes.
He said he wanted to bet the Greek $500 on the Bucs going between 10 and 13 wins this season.
Yeah, I want to put this comment up there. There we go, right there. I want to bet $500 with Harry and his ridiculous cracked out take on the Bucs winning 10 to 13 games next season. Harry, respond to this.
Call into the show and I'll respond.
Oh,
wow.
Hey, Harry, I'll respond to it real quick. Can I?
Yeah,
Be nice, Ray.
No, I'm going to tell you that even though you've got Jonnu Smith and now Kyle Pitts there in Atlanta, and you're going to have the number one overall pick who's going to take at least a year and a half with the new coach there in Carolina and Frank Reich, and you also have the New Orleans Saints and Dennis Allen, whatever they're doing. You're talking about the Buccaneers under Todd Bowles are still going to have the best, one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL. They're going to have the best defense in the NFC South. Now, they're going to have to go through some growing pains with a new quarterback, whether it be Baker Mayfield or, as we all like to know, it's Kyle Trask, but they still have the best receiving core. They still have a pretty good offensive line. It's played together, even if they're not proven number ones and Pro Bowl players. They play together for over 5 to 7 years total, this offensive line. Take out Goedeke, and I'm getting a little bit waxed on top there. I definitely think the Buccaneers could be on. It's going to be a little bit of momentum flow. You're going to have to get some breaks your way, but it always goes that way every season. I see no reason why the Buccaneers can't be 13-4 in 2023.
And besides, honestly, Troy, I know you're watching, Troy. I'll give you enough time to do your Uber and collect your 25 cents, whatever it is, between now and the end of the year. Just make sure you I take change too, okay, bro? So just go hang out with Ray. All you got to do is borrow Ruth, use the sign, and that way you'll have enough money to pay me.
There you go, right?
There you go. There you go, Troy.
Flawless victory.
This is to shock you, but I'm tending to agree with Troy this time.
Oh no!
Put up the last comment from Troy. This is good. I like it.
All right, hold on a sec.
I commented right after Troy.
Let's bet money on the Bucs record. We can use that money to get Ray off the streets and into a shelter. I don't know about you anymore, Troy. That was actually kind of funny.
What about the methadone? I need the methadone. No, I don't see anything
you
there.
Shut up and be quiet.
Harry, I kind of agreed with Troy. I put in the chat room that I bet you a moussaka dinner on the Bucs winning less than 10 games next year.
What? You bet him on moose caca?
What?
Yes.
Pardon me.
I just don't know where to go at this point with you guys. Roger, thanks a lot for taking the show down to the gutter as always.
Roger, it's always a pleasure to have a Greek guy on, okay? Don't worry about it. You can call as many times as you want. You have carte blanche.
Harry, are you taking my bet?
Huh?
Are you taking my bet?
Well, whatever you want, buddy. I mean,
Hey, Pete, I got to get out of here. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Dinner, the Bucs win less than 10 games next year.
He's betting.
Got it.
Here. Okay,
I'll make the moussaka for you. Okay?
Wait a minute.
Hold on. Go ahead. Say full screen here for Roger Shu, the tribal troll.
Roger, if you win, I will make the moussaka.
Roger just bet you Roger's taking the under on the Bucs in 10 games next year.
All right, so Roger's taking the 10 games. Yes.
Yeah,
okay, then Roger, you better show your ass back up at Whiskey Wing, and I'll buy if the Buccaneers do go under 10. But if they go off 10 and over, you're buying those Whiskey Wings.
You're buying everybody those wings. You're buying me wings when Anthony Richardson gets drafted.
Ray, we'll get so drunk it won't even be funny, brother.
Well,
I'll take that every day of the week.
That's normal for you, Roger. So
all right, so Peter's gonna owe me wings,
okay,
Harry a steak, and Ray drinks.
No, I'm not going to owe any of them.
Yeah, but there's one problem. If Peter loses a bet, we'll be here next year and the following year going, can we 400 it or nothing? You know what that means? There's double or nothing, triple or nothing, quadruple or nothing, whatever it goes on from. Can we do 200 or nothing?
Hey, every day Pete's just hustling there, Harry. That's all.
That's it.
Every day I'm hustling.
All right, great stuff, Roger. Appreciate the call, my friend.
Peter Blake is the Rick Ross of the sports web.
I love that. It's great.
Peter, I'd love to hang out.
Okay, well, let's get everybody. Roger, thanks a lot. We appreciate the call as always. Use that second call. Turnbuckle Talk coming right up here.
Hey, just bring them both in so Ray and I can say hello to the guys. I'd love to hang out.
Okay, I don't know what that is. What is that? Oh, that's my phone. Hold on a sec. Why is my phone like that? Okay, I think that's you, Ray. All right, let's go out to the guys here. Of course, the madman himself, former XPW announcer, Mr. Mark Mancini right there, and the bodyguard of the Berg, Pittsburgh's forgotten son, Mr. Ralph Williams. We're all here now, so we can all talk about wrestling, Harry, just like you like, right?
What's up, Mark? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, brother.
Everything good? You good?
Hey, Harry. Leo was in a better. He was in a couch today, closer to the camera. Come closer to that camera and adjust the mirrors. Here come the Pirates.
The Pirates. Oh my God! I've really got to listen to this, though, Ray.
Hey, wait a minute! I just got done throwing John Denver's statue on the highway in Denver.
The Pirates, the Butt Pirates.
Coming.
Oh, geez. Harry, on that note, get the hell out of here. Go ahead and promote yourself here on the Evolution.
Allen Robinson, baby.
Will you shut up and be quiet?
You know what? I'm glad he brought up the Allen Robinson thing.
Yes, I bet you are.
Oh, Chicago Listen, there's something that I know about him. He really listen. I loved Allen Robinson. There was one reason why he had to get out of Chicago. He couldn't run his routes like he used to. Okay, hence the reason what happened over in the Rams. This, my friend, truthfully, and I'm not busting on you, Mark. This was a very, very, very bad pickup, and this is going to hurt Pittsburgh. It's probably the only bad move that I've seen Pittsburgh make, and I mean many years. Brilliant organization, especially with the way they handle their draft picks and a lot of their players. But just because there's a reason why the Rams are paying that money. He was not that good in the locker room. He is not. He is not the same player that he once was. Not even close. He was not worth a first-round pick. Mark, I'm so sorry about that. I give the Pirates more of a chance of being a success than Robinson in Pittsburgh. I'm going to tell you right now. And the Pirates got zero chance.
We might have to talk about this late October, November, because reclamation projects definitely work out in New England and Pittsburgh. But the Rams got a big rags to riches. They're a fire sale outside SoFi Stadium. Who's the next Ram out?
Well, I tell you right now, maybe Matt Stafford. Who the heck knows at this point? I mean,
tryouts.
They got one. I got one quarterback on the roster. That's Stafford. So we'll see what they do during the draft. Harry, I know you got to get out of here.
I love you, Harry and Peter and Ralph. Baby, come on,
brother. Ralph, Madman, Pete. I would love to hang on and talk to Dick the Bruiser and Dusty Rhodes.
Such an idiot.
But I can't. I got to be honest with you. I got a 10 waiting for me in the other room, man. So I got to fly. Deuces, brother. We love you.
All right, there we go. Here in the Greek Professor. Capper extraordinaire at 1252 Chicago Sports. Guys, let me put you in the lobby really quick. I want to read all these comments, and then we'll come back out to you. We'll start Turnbuckle Talk. All right, guys?
Yeah.
Stand by. Here we go. Let me go back out to these comments because I want to read them. Let's go out to Troy. Not even Statue Bulls believes they will win 10 games next season. Gary Eden says Bucs need a stud defensive end or offensive lineman. That's certainly a possibility. Good comment. Yeah. We'll see where they go. It could be pass rush more than anything else. And Boston 2-2, end of 2. KR says, we got a full house tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in, KR. Yeah. Roger says, in the name of the Father and the Son of the Holy Trask. We read that. Roger says, Greekites in the house. Malaka Pete. This is what you get.
This guy sucks.
We're coming and raising the Jolly Roger as well. They are coming in. JC Allen up, Pewter Report. Got to get you on here on Monday, as we're only 8 days away from the NFL draft. Thanks a lot for tuning in, my friend. Yeah. Says, what's up, fellas? Roger Shue says, read the damn comments. I am. Corey says, oh, no, referees miss high stick penalty call. Hurricanes win. Islanders upset. Thank you for the update. Corey again. Joy McCoy plays too soft. Not ready to say that. Ben says, I feel like at the end of the Bucs career, he was fine with losing. Troy again. Gerald McCoy and Doug Martin are real Bucs legends. Don't know about Doug Martin, but definitely McCoy. We talked about it in the Ring of Honor. Pete moonwalk for us. How about no?
How about no?
Troy says, can't wait for college football to see Colorado lose. Coach Prime has been running his mouth too much, bro. We shall see. Mark Carrier, and I believe this is from I Love St. Pete. Cole says, Mark Carrier was the only wide receiver to make the Pro Bowl in 89 until I think he. You're absolutely correct. CSB brother there, Mr. Cole says, love TJ. We love him here on the show. Troy says, before any of y'all could barely walk out, Keck was the one putting the Bucs on the map. Show some respect to the real legend. Roger says, Jeff, I don't know what he just said. Bring Mr. Williams on the show. No. Those Saturday mornings eating cereal, watching Scooby-Doo as a kid were the best. Thelma, Daphne all day. All right, thank you. Yeah. Troy says Roger was watching the Powerpuff Girls. That's actually a pretty good comment.
Finish him.
Let's go out to Ralph. Go Tampa Bay Inferno. We will have the owner here soon on the Evolution talking about Women's Football League. We've had them on here before. Let's bet money on the Bucs record. We can use that money to go Ray off the streets to the shelter. Wow, 13-4, Ray. What are you smoking? I think that's Cole again. Troy says it's all jokes, Ray. Let's see here. A Moose Kaka. That's my cue. Good night, fellas. Thank you, Cole. Wardlow wins the TNT Championship again tonight for the third time. Great update. Thank you, sir. Yeah. And Troy says, I want Aaliyah Mysterio to call me Poppy. All right. With that being said, let's go out to a quick break, and then we will start Turnbuckle Talk here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web. Keep it locked.
uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of sports talk television. You can't win unless you play uwager.lv. If you're betting on the NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, put in my promo code SPORTSWEB. Very simple, SPORTSWEB. All right, let's go out to the guys. Once again, the madman himself, former XPW announcer, Mancini Media, XM Sirius Radio, also in Philadelphia there. Mr. Mark Mancini, welcome to the Sports Web, my friend. How you doing?
Always a pleasure, and I just want to wish your mom another belated birthday. I know last week you took her out. And
yes, I did.
Say hi to the mom for me.
Wait, she is the agent. She is the future agent of this show. She watches every show. She didn't miss it, but she's like, you know what? Can you take off tonight? It's my birthday. And I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to take off because it is your birthday. So I missed you guys last week. I missed this guy right here, the bodyguard of the Berg. It's how he sees it. Mr. Ralph Williams, right. Pittsburgh's forgotten son. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I had some technical issues with some equipment this week, but other than that, I'm doing well.
Listen, we're all there with you when it comes to technical issues with computers and streaming. It's absolute a pain in the ass, but at the end of the day, not as much of a pain in the ass, I think, to Vince McMahon and this joining, if you will, with Endeavor, because all of you've heard here, gentlemen, is how exciting it is, how much money they're going to bring into both companies, that being WWE and UFC, and now cost cutting is coming, cutting talent is coming. I mean, what do you make of this, Mark? All this cutting, talking about, joining up together, and now you got to cut the roster down, cut the fat down. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's sad. We've got rivalries that really don't make sense. Now we're going to start cutting guys, and the middle of the pack guys we don't even know what we're going to do with. We've talked about that before. It just seems like it's the part-timers that are running, with whatever they want to do here, and look at it. I mean, just look at this past Monday night, what we witnessed, and we've got a stable of the bloodline trying to recruit the Judgment Day to save that sinking ship.
Yeah, and I tell you right now, I don't know what WWE is doing, and I'm definitely convinced that Vince is back into control with creative, although Nick Khan supposedly, and this was a story that came out, Ralph, that he contacted all talent, and what was said is that Triple H is now in control once again of creative. So what do you make of this whole situation? It seems like it's a seesaw at this point. We talked about WrestleMania Night 2, Night 1. Night 1 was better than Night 2, and we assumed that Vince was the one that was booking Night 2. So what do you make of this whole mess situation with, getting involved with Endeavor, getting involved with USC, all the cost cutting, and then the uncertain future if Triple H is in control? Is it Vince McMahon in control? I mean, it sounds like a bad football team, namely the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, it does. It's a bad situation. Although they say Triple H is in charge, but I keep hearing rumors that he has to ask Vince McMahon, to clean his glasses or whatever. You know what I mean? Because no matter what he does, he has to get approval from Vince. So, I don't see how he could really be in charge. And on top of this Endeavor thing, I'm not a fan of it anyway. But you know what? If they think it's going to make it better, then that's fine. But you know this, Peter. When companies merge, they always cut. And I've seen it happen many times. I was involved in a merger, with a company that I worked for, and they always cut costs. They lay people off. They cut the executive fat too. So that stuff is, that's just how it goes with mergers of companies or companies buying another one out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Now, gentlemen, we've had 2 weeks to kind of think about what happened at WrestleMania 39 there with Cody Rhodes, of course, against the tribal chief, Mr. Roman Reigns. Do we like this storyline going forward with Cody earning it against Brock Lesnar, or do we think they kind of ruined it on Monday night?
Well, I mean, when you look at it, I don't know what. I'm trying to figure out where they're going. Brock Lesnar was a face here. When you looked at him Sunday in the second of the WrestleMania events, and then all of a sudden Monday night, he must have had a spaz attack or something. He came out and clocked them. And then we fast forward to Trish Stratus, who performed great on Saturday with the Becky and the Lita. And then all of a sudden she takes it out. And I can't quite figure out where they're going with these part-time people here. I love Trish. I've interviewed her before. Unless she's going to hang around a while, I don't know what's going on.
Well, I tell you right now, she hasn't aged a day. I think she looks actually as good or better than she did when she was younger. But I love this storyline to a certain degree. You're exactly right. The vehicle, Ralph, bodyguard of the Berg, for a part-timer to come back, a legend like a Trish, is to promote somebody like a Becky Lynch, get them over. But Becky's kind of already over. So what do you make of Trish going heel at the end of the day?
Well, I knew it was going to happen from the beginning, because if you took a look at the match itself, Trish didn't look real happy being there. And in the past, Trish and Lita, and I said this tonight on my Talking Wrestling podcast, that Trish and Lita in the past have fought against each other more than they've teamed up against each other. So, Trish is jealous because, she's jealous because, Lita always beat her in matches, and Lita has been beat by Trish in certain matches. But they, like I said, they've been more enemies than they have been friends. I expected this to happen. I saw it. Trish didn't look like she wanted to be there. And then when she showed up with Becky Lynch, she looked like she didn't want to be there. So here we are. Trish Stratus is now going to be a heel. And I think what they're doing with these part-time wrestlers is just crazy. A poor guy like Drew McIntyre is leaving WWE. Seth Rollins is unhappy. Becky Lynch is unhappy. Take care of your core people. Take care of the people who have been there all the time for you. Instead, they're worrying about these part-timers like Brock Lesnar and stuff like that. Take care of the people that have been loyal to you. But that's not the Vince McMahon way.
Well, that's not the Vince McMahon way, and the reason why you're doing that is for ratings at the end of the day. And once again, you have this, this big endeavor, if you will, with Endeavor to join up with USC. We're on Turnbuckle Talk here on The Evolution. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with the madman himself, former XPW announcer, Mr. Mark Mancini, and of course, the bodyguard of the Berg, Ralph Williams. Say that 3 times. Now, I asked you about Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Now, Steve Austin was talking about this, and he said that WrestleMania 39 was magnificent. He talked to Sports Illustrated about it. He said, I'm going all in. To me, they got it just right. I was wondering how they were going to do this match. They built it perfectly. I told my wife, I think they're going 30 minutes. They ended up going just over 34. It was classic. I loved it. I wouldn't have changed a thing. I texted a couple people who were involved, and I sent a one-word text, magnificent. Your thoughts?
Well, I think it was great the way they did it, but now where do you go from here? There's a couple of things in place here where, Cody Rhodes is trying to address it. He still hasn't finished that feud with Seth Rollins. Now you got Brock Lesnar, but now you don't even see Roman Reigns. Who's his next opponent? I mean, we might not know that till SummerSlam in August, because the Bloodline is doing his bidding for him, along with Paul Heyman. And we've got a draft guy coming up in a couple weeks here. So it's going to get really interesting to see where this thing shakes. Teams can be broken up. Guys can be being moved. I will tell you this. I don't think Roman Reigns is leaving SmackDown, because I think that's their bread and butter with Fox. They need to leave him there. But it's going to be interesting if one of those Usos go, maybe both Usos go, and they just leave Sikoa to kind of keep Reigns there watching over his back.
And I got to read this comment from JCA here, Mr. JC Allen, up here to report he's staying tuned here for Turnbuckle Talk. He's a wrestling fan. I love it. Guys, the phone number is out there. Let me read this comment really quick. Roman is set to defend his title at Clash of the Champions. Now, against who, in your opinion, Ralph, should they put him against Mr. Roman Reigns? Who is it going to be?
You know what? That's a good question because Mark just said it. Who's going to wrestle him? I will tell you this much. The Money in the Bank winner, supposedly the rumor I'm hearing, is going to be LA Knight. So, if that's going to be the situation there down the road, there's your challenger. But I don't know. I can't even say because I don't even know who to even pick at this point. With Drew leaving and everything else, I don't know.
All right, let me go back out to the comments here. Troy says, I wonder what Mr. Mancini is looking at. The camera is to your left, Uso. You got to get him, Mark. You got to get him, Madman. Can you go ahead and cut a promo on him really quick? Cut a promo on Mr. Troy Polamalu here.
Well, the problem with Troy Polamalu is he's not from Pittsburgh. He's living outside, probably from Cleveland. And we have a saying. We definitely have a saying in Pittsburgh, and Ralph can second this. The shirt is Cleveland sucks, feel the Pittsburgh lumber.
Oh, there you go. All right, that was good. All right, let's go on to JC here. Roman as the Universal Champion. I don't know if he gets drafted. I think he'll be a floating champion, and I think Mark is somewhat right, and JC's also right. And the way you've got to do this is, I get it. Fox has the rights, Ralph and Mark, to SmackDown, and that basically is your main show. It's not Raw anymore. But you're exactly right. You got to keep Roman there as a floating champion. I think you got to use both, especially with the ratings not the best when it comes to Monday Night Raw. You agree with that?
Totally agree with that. And, that's where I think they're going to go. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm going to stick by it. I think it's going to be Reigns, Sikoa, and Heyman staying with the SmackDown. And I think the Usos will go over to Raw and kind of drift in the sunset there.
Wow, and I see. I don't think you could break that faction up at the end of the day. I think it's too good. So I don't. They may be teasing it, but I doubt it. Ralph, do you think they break that faction up? And do you have Roman Reigns not only on SmackDown, which at the end of the day is the top show? Do you also have him on Raw?
No, you know what? I was wrong. I thought that the Bloodline and Judgment Day were both going down after WrestleMania. Neither one of them did. So I don't sell out the Bloodline. I think they stay where they are. But the belts are getting split. So the WWE Championship's going back to Raw, and Roman Reigns will stay at SmackDown with the Universal belt. So you don't have to worry about him leaving SmackDown. And, so they're splitting everything up again with this draft. So we'll see where it goes. I can't say but I believe the Bloodline will stay intact. Oh, and secondly, also, guys, tonight, Wardlow, when he won the TNT Championship, his new manager is Arn Anderson.
Wow. Well, and that's the way to go with Arn Anderson because he is the enforcer. And I feel like, look, Anderson is one of the most underrated wrestlers, underrated talents in the history of wrestling. And we should look back. And I always kind of felt the same way with Chris Jericho. You kind of appreciate him more throughout the years as you see what he did and how he accomplished it. I still think the same thing about Arn Anderson. He never really got his pub because he was in the Four Horsemen. And, of course, he was in the biggest shadow in the game in a Ric Flair. JC Allen says, yeah, LA Knight. And we'll get back to the comments in a moment. Was he wasted? Should they have found him a spot at WrestleMania 39? Because he had this storyline with Bray Wyatt, kind of fizzled. They got to do something with this guy because not only can he wrestle, but he's also good on the mic, and he's been in the business here for the last 10 years. He's really made a mark. So, Mark, what do you think about LA Knight? The right choice for Money in the Bank.
I think they dropped the ball on it in LA because more or less WrestleMania was in LA. Why wasn't LA Knight part of it?
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is, I think LA Knight, you could tell by the fan reaction, this guy's going to go face here. And you brought it up earlier, LA Knight going against Roman Reigns. He's got great mic skills, man. He can hold his own. He didn't back down to Bray Wyatt. So I kind of like him going face. The real thing is, what the hell are they doing with Madcap Moss? Because I kind of like him, but he looks like he might be going back to heel.
Well, he's going back to heel. They don't know what to do with him, and he's one of those victims, a.k.a. Karrion Kross and Scarlett, although Shinsuke Nakamura came back, so maybe they're having some type of feud there. But your thoughts, Ralph, on LA Knight, the right choice here to win Money in the Bank? Or to me, I think it's kind of Seth Rollins, right? I mean, Seth Rollins at this point, he's over. He's a cover athlete. He's done it. Why not see that? I know you've seen it before with Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, but why not Seth Rollins for Money in the Bank?
Yeah, why not? I believe that to be true. And you know what's funny? Seth Rollins has been around all these years. He, like I've said before, he's done all the work. He's been loyal to the company. He's done everything they want him to do, and he's unhappy right now. And you know, I heard a story that they're going to bring him back with his old name from ROH. You know, they're talking about that now. So I mean, you know, Tyler Perry. So I mean, you know,
Tyler Black.
Tyler Black. Yeah, I'm sorry. But anyway, they gotta do something with him because he's going to get unhappy, just like Drew McIntyre, and he's going to leave. You know, and with AEW scooping everybody up, WWE better do something because AEW is coming up with a 4th show now on Saturdays. That's coming up real soon.
Yeah, you stole my thunder there. They're definitely doing some type of brand split. And oh, by the way, I
and a draft.
told you about this, that CM Punk was coming back, and most certainly he's coming back, and that's the reason why they're doing a brand split, if you will, because they are having a new Saturday Night Wrestling show there on AEW. First and foremost, let's talk about that. Mark, what do you think about CM Punk coming back? There's talk that he's not going to work with the guys. The reason why they're doing this brand split in another show is to keep those guys separate. What do you think of this whole situation? Is this a disaster in the making once again for Tony Khan and AEW?
Well, no, I've always liked CM Punk. I mean, he's a name brand you can draw off of. And the second thing, having it on Saturday night, you know what it reminds me of? Saturday night's main event. I mean, that's what we need to bring back. I mean, I saw a guy at the WrestleMania walking around with one of those Saturday night main events. I mean, how classic is that?
It is. I mean, you did it right before Saturday Night Live, or you preempted
WCW Saturday.
11:30. Went from 11:30 to 1 in the morning.
Right. And when WCW, you're exactly right, Ralph. When WCW didn't have Monday Nitro, you had WCW Saturday Night. That was their flagship show at the time. You had to watch that. So a smart move by AEW. I know how you feel about CM Punk. You feel the same way about Punk as you feel about Tom Brady, right?
Pretty much. But you know what? This is Tony Khan and AEW trying to get their ratings up. Their ratings are down. I heard their attendance is down at events. They didn't even sell out tonight here in Pittsburgh because last night and today they were still advertising that there were tickets available. So what I'm saying is that Tony Khan's looking for a way out here and he has all these athletes, as I've said many times, he don't know what to do with. So now he's got another show. He could put them on this show. He could have a draft. He has enough people. Now the question is, what do you do with them? You know, how do you put them in the right places to make it work like a team? How do you do that? So that's what he's going to have to do, Tony Khan. You want to do a 4th show? You want to get the ratings back up? You want to get people in the seats? Well, guess what? Bring back CM Punk. Keep him away from the Elite and whoever else don't like him, Chris Jericho and the janitor and whoever. All right, you know, have his own separate show. And then, you know, that way he can do his thing, whatever he wants. Just like Roman Reigns. He has SmackDown,
And I feel like the smartest thing to do is to eventually put those guys against each other because it's a money seller and it's real heat. And I feel like CM Punk eventually, we're going to have that match versus MJF. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people want to see. All right, let's go back out to the comments here. Any updates on Aaliyah Mysterio's calendar photo shoot? I'm not going to even address it. JC Allen says, hopefully they split the belts. I mean, should they split the belts or should they? See, and I think you kind of lose the mystique. You can't split the belts. You got to keep the belts together because if you want to sell the storyline of the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, you can't do it at SummerSlam. You got to wait. Now that you have this long-term storytelling thing going on, you have to wait till WrestleMania 40. It has to be the big enchilada. You got to have Cody Rhodes win both belts, or for me, it doesn't mean anything. Just my opinion.
Well, not only that, Brock Lesnar, every time I see him with a cowboy hat on, he's reminding me of Hacksaw Jim Duggan minus the hat.
God. Oh, thank you.
You know, that's the problem there. And, you know, what's this going to, where do we go with Lesnar after this match?
Well, you go with Lesnar. It's like Goldberg, you know, the guy never goes away. I mean, you love Goldberg and him being in the Hall of Fame, but he's seen his best days. I think the same thing with Lesnar. We've seen Lesnar. You've seen him be a heel. You've seen these matches before. He's already built up with the beast. He needs to get somebody over. He needs to put them over. That's what a part-timer is supposed to do. When The Rock comes back, you don't have him go over on Roman Reigns. You have him put over Roman Reigns with a good match at the end of the day, right, Ralph?
Yes, absolutely. I agree 100%. They don't know what to do with these part-timers. I will tell you this. Bill Goldberg is possibly signing with AEW as well. So we're going to see where that goes.
Well,
AEW is scooping them up.
They are, and it seems like there's a hiring freeze right now going on in WWE because Switchblade Jay White was in talks for a couple of months.
Yes.
Triple H.
Kenny Omega also.
Kenny Omega. We'll see if that works out. And now Brian Cage has also signed. It looks like FTR has signed. We'll get back to that in a moment.
Well, what about Theory and Lashley, guys? I mean, that thing is starting to play itself out, and Lashley looks like he's going back to a face.
Well, he has to because they're building up Theory as a heel, and that's what you have to do. But you can't put Lashley over Theory. You've got to put you got to help Theory out. If this is what, because you already put him over on John Cena, and now they're saying like John Cena is the greatest of all time. I don't agree with that, but the reason why you do that is because it adds to the mystique of Austin Theory. That's what you're trying to do. That's how you build up a young superstar like a Theory. It's a great question, though. Need to add a cruiserweight as well.
They are doing that. Yes, I heard that story.
Let's go out to Mickey here. Mark, at least comb your hair when you come on someone else's podcast. You guys right now are just killing me.
Oh, come on,
man.
man.
Let me tell these guys, they don't understand. I don't comb the hair. It's that slick Pat Riley look.
He's a madman. You're a madman.
Yeah, you know, that's what it is. At least these guys are taking notes, so when they hit my age, they'll say, I want to look like Mark Mancini.
Oh, there you go, right there, man.
Hey, at least we're on podcast. They're not.
Oh, there you go. But you can't join this if you want to call up. If you guys want to make fun of the host here, I'm sure they'll give it back.
That's what it is. You know, they sit in their room.
No, I like the one earlier, Peter, when he said, when Roger said, all you do is talk about Tampa Bay. This is supposed to be a sports show. You don't just talk about Tampa Bay.
Right. We don't talk just about Tampa Bay. We talk all sports here.
All sports.
Line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. The other number, in case you can't get through, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. It's Turnbuckle Talk. The rumors are true. Harry makes fun of me all the time, but we talk WWE, we talk AEW, we talk professional wrestling on this show. Let's go out to I'm right. Okay, so when are we going to talk about sports? We are professional sports entertainment. How about that?
Yeah.
AC Allen, AJ Styles is coming back soon. What about
I'm waiting for AJ. Man, I'm waiting for him to come back. I mean,
him and Gallows and Anderson. I can't wait to get them back into the pool because they haven't done anything since he's been gone.
Well, that's the real Bullet Club, right? I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. They're calling
Wasn't it him? The other one was Finn Balor. Wasn't he part of that Bullet Club?
He was.
Yeah.
He's a part of that, but now he's a part of that bloodline, or not bloodline.
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day. Okay. Tyler Perry. Mikey says, hi, Ralph Williams. Hi, JC Allen. Thanks, Mikey, for tuning in.
Hi, Mickey Delaney.
Yes, Mickey Delaney here. I'm just busting.
Hi, Mickey Delaney.
Yeah. All right. Let's go out to Steve Austin here. He was asked about coming back for WrestleMania 39, and he said, to do a proper match, I have to be off the charts in shape. I told them this exact truth. I said, guys, I'm just fixing to go into production on the show Stone Cold Takes on America. Until we start production, I don't know what my life looks like. I can't commit. Sure enough, there were technical issues before we finished. I was supposed to finish a month before we did. There's no way with the schedule I was doing, driving an RV all over God's creation, doing all I was doing that would be ready. We would be ready. I had 2 30-pound dumbbells, a 45-pound sandbag, and a 25-pound kettlebell, working 15 hours a day, and then getting into a 30 or 40-minute workout. That doesn't get you ready for WrestleMania, and I was really protected at WrestleMania 38. This time, this wasn't going to be the case. This was a true statement until the show was over. I couldn't commit. First and foremost, A&E does a hell of a job when it comes to WWE documentaries and Stone Cold. I really love that channel on Sunday nights. If you're a wrestling fan like I am, tune in to A&E.
Oh, yeah.
With that being said, I mean,
The Iron Sheik.
Well, yeah, that was an interesting one, wasn't it? Yeah,
well,
that was.
Here's the thing, guys. Stone Cold and WrestleMania 40. Do you think that happens, or have we seen the last of Stone Cold?
I think
That could happen.
Okay, go ahead, Mark.
I really think what finer city to see it than him busting some, Philly dillies out there in Philadelphia for the 40 WrestleMania. I think we haven't seen the last of them.
No, you haven't seen the last of them? Okay, all right. So, Ralph, what do you say? Stone Cold, have we seen the last of them, or do you think he makes an appearance at SummerSlam or at WrestleMania 40?
I think Stone Cold will make an appearance when he wants to make an appearance. Good
answer. Very good answer, Ralph, right there.
It is, but it's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and read this comment. You know I'm right. Not a big fan of Turnbuckle Talk. I'm sorry, my friend. You could definitely
that's too bad.
And change the subject if you want to. We could talk other sports, but we try.
This guy's a big fan of roller derby.
Well, he likes the Lightning. So, that's funny. We talk about real sports. It doesn't consist of 100% acted. Listen, it's entertainment. It's like a movie. You go and watch that. So good stuff there.
Hey, Peter, tell him we'll bring him back when we do underwater basket weaving segments. Or
yeah, there you go.
Exactly. That's what we're going to do. Badminton.
Or pickleball. There we go. Talk about pickleball.
All right. Of course, Stone Cold wasn't the only one that was making a comment about Cody Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes, his brother, of course, formerly known as Goldust in WWE, now in AEW. He said during an appearance of Busted Open Radio with Nick Miller, expressed his support for the way WWE has handled Cody. They're making him pay for it now. They're making him earn it. I like that. I do. I like that because once you put the title on him, where are you going? I'm extremely proud of him. I wish him the best. He's going to be world champion. I know it. I don't know when, but he's going to be world champion. With that being said, what do we think of old brother there saying, hey, he's got to earn it? There's a rivalry going on here in this family.
I will tell you this, Peter, and you and Ralph know it. A lot of people today, they want to run before they walk, and we know how long it takes to be successful with anything. It's never the goal, it's the journey. And I just want to tell everybody out there that listens to this show on Wednesdays, the fall over that goes into Pittsburgh for the wrestling is unbelievable. And what you've done for Ralph is just simply amazing. And I love you, brother.
Hey, man, I love you too. I love both of you guys. And Ralph, I'm glad you're a part of this show. I mean, what do you think?
Thank you.
Absolutely. Dustin's comments about little brother there, Cody.
That's actually amazing about him being world champion. I don't know if you noticed or not, Peter and Mark, but I heard a rumor this week that I saw something that said that Cody Rhodes and The Miz are both auditioning and possibly will have some kind of roles in some TV series and some movies. They met with a talent producer in Hollywood at the WrestleMania time. So, if Cody Rhodes decides to move on to acting, you may not even see him around anymore. He's 37 years old. He don't have the accolades of Roman Reigns and some other people. He needs to get something now before he does retire. So I think it would be right to have him as champion. I thought it was going to happen at WrestleMania, and it didn't. And I'm very sad about that. But you know what? Maybe Triple H is right. The story's not over.
Well, the story is just beginning. Let's go back out to these comments here. Let's go out to Troy. When are we going to talk Greyhound racing and real? That's actually pretty funny.
Flawless.
Hey, you laugh. I won money on Greyhound racing, so there.
Better than talking about Chad Ballet. Okay. Hey, Troy. Let's see, Troy. See, I think I'm right and Troy are the same person or they're cousins or something.
Yeah. And I think, Troy's disenchanted. He dialed into the popular show on Wednesdays that's sweeping the country, but he flipped the wrong channel and he hit the Cartoon Network.
There you go. I love Mark and Ralph. Thanks a lot. Mark or Mickey, excuse me. Appreciate it. All right, going back to that report from AEW, let's switch gears here. With CM Punk. According to the original report, the move would be done to ease the dressing room problems. We talked about the brand split and also the new Saturday night show, likely putting Punk, the Elite, and others who have issues with the former AEW World Champion on separate shows, with Punk being the big name for Saturday nights. Not only has Bischoff laid into AEW on numerous occasions, but also has religiously laid into Punk in the past, calling him the biggest financial flop in the history of the wrestling business, continuing that criticism even to this day, despite more rumors surfacing that Punk's on his way back. Bischoff doesn't believe it's a good move, mentioning why bad morale is not good for wrestling locker room and calling him a cancer. He said it's no different than any other work environment. If you got somebody who's a cancer, if you got somebody who's consistently rubbing people the wrong way, creating a negative environment, creating hostility, dividing people within the team, why have him around? That's not going to create anything. It's just stupid. Yes, it does create bad morale. It does bad morale, whether it's in the wrestling locker room, or office environment, or anyone else. It's not productive. It's counterproductive. So why do it? This guy's not saving anything. He's not going to turn AEW's business around. He also says, good luck. You deserve whatever you get. Turner is a friggin' mess. You're not the company you used to be. He said this on the Strictly Business podcast. There's executives in that company that couldn't find their ass with both hands and a compass when it comes to making a good decision. If this is the direction they're going in, good friggin' luck.
Wow.
That's Eric Bischoff.
Eric Bischoff. No.
That's Eric Bischoff.
I love Eric Bischoff. I love how
so do I.
With the NWO and challenging WWE. But here's a guy that kept Hogan around, Nash around, Hall around. All these wrestlers that were,
paid him a high dollar
guaranteed money, politics, backstage, especially with Hogan.
Right.
Well, he's talking about cancers here. Kind of hypocritical.
He was one.
Unfortunately, he doesn't look around more often than not because, when you look at, these guys he's talking about, this guy didn't necessarily burn the bridge. He blew the damn thing up. I mean, you want to talk around cancers around leagues and everything. Look at Kyrie Irving in Dallas.
Oh, my God. What a disaster that is.
And poor Lamar Jackson trying to get some money out of the Baltimore Ravens. He's looking at a guy that abused I don't know how many women in Texas and then got moved to Cleveland and got a $230 million payroll.
Yeah,
it's
exactly right. Yep, exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And, Bischoff has his concerns and doesn't necessarily is not.
Like CM Punk. He is a money maker. There's certain guys that are money makers. Yeah, you might have an ego and stuff. You just kind of reel them in a little, sit them down. But that dude is a money maker. How many people would love to see a CM Punk versus a Roman Reigns? That would blow out the ratings.
Absolutely, because there's genuine heat there. How would you not, Ralph, how would you not like to see Seth Rollins with his comments off the mat against the CM Punk? I feel like they may have been trying to set that up, but is Bischoff right that, Punk is a cancer? Is he too critical of AEW at this juncture?
Well, here's what it is. It's Tony Khan himself. Look at MJF. He come out tonight and he goes, he says, Tony Khan's my buddy. And he lets MJF set up his own matches. Okay? So if he's going to let MJF do that, he lets CM Punk do whatever he wants. And he let the inmates run the asylum, and that's why it's where it's at with this. If he would have said to CM Punk, look, you're not going to do this here. This isn't going to happen. The thing with him and the Elite in the back would never have happened. So what I'm saying is, it's Tony Khan. It's not CM Punk, I don't think. When you continue to let a guy like CM Punk continue to do this, that's the result you're going to get. So Tony Khan let him do it. And I would doubt if WWE told him, you're not going to do this here. Okay? Right. You're not going to poison our locker room. So, if Tony Khan is doing this, which I see he is, that's why CM Punk is CM Punk.
Well, and I think, Tony Khan is in a rock and a hard place at the end of the day because he knows that CM Punk is a superstar, is over with the crowd, can make money. But in the same vein, Eric may be right. He may be a cancer and he may be detrimental to that locker room. But I feel like it goes always back to what Triple H said, right? It's all what's best for business. What's best for business is everybody to be professional about this, no matter if Punk is a cancer or not, because that's the way you're going to be able to make money. And that's what it's all about. It's about making money and trying to dethrone WWE. Good luck if you have this this conflict with all these wrestlers at the end of the day. All right, let's go.
And not only that, sorry, Peter, when you look at it, what's best for business, when you look at the Judgment Day, you can anybody honestly tell me this is best for Rhea Ripley? Once she decides to break away, that whole thing's going to crumble like yesterday's.
They're giving them a storyline with Bad
Bunny. Wait till tomorrow night. I have something on our Wrestle Talk show tomorrow night. I sent this report over to Mark. He's going to play the audio tomorrow night. Wait till you hear this, Peter, and I'll send it to you. Wait till you hear this. Yeah. Judgment Day's going bye-byes.
Send it to me. No, I've just lived to accept Troy. I don't agree with most of what he says. And Mickey says, Troy, stay in your lane. Mickey, thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll finish it up with this.
Thank you, Mickey.
Dax Harwood explains why FTR signed with AEW and says he trusts Tony Khan over Triple H. Now, this may
I would.
Wow.
This may come back to bite him in the future if AEW goes under.
Yeah.
He says here, winning the belts, obviously, we kind of foreshadowed that we were going to stay with AEW. I've said it a million times on the podcast. There are so many different things. We had to weigh out what was going to work for both of us. And ultimately, the schedule probably was the biggest thing. But also, I feel that there is no slight. I'm not throwing any kind of shade anywhere, which, by the way, it's like saying, I really think you have a genius idea, but right. I'm not throwing any kind of shade anywhere, but I feel that for the next 4 years, we can trust Tony Khan more with our career and our legacy than we could over there. Wow. He says Khan gets them more than Vince McMahon and even Triple H did to an extent. He thinks Khan sees more marketability in FTR and cited their 6-minute promo segment on a recent AEW Rampage as an example because they wouldn't have had that opportunity in WWE. He is correct.
He is right. Yes.
Yeah. They were there. They did nothing with them. They were a complete joke. And that's why they're FTRF.
I feel bad for Gallows and Anderson. They went back to WWE. They haven't done anything with them since AJ Styles has been hurt. There's a lot they could do with them. I didn't even see them at all.
And it wasn't Revolution. What were they called in WWE? I can't even remember. It was.
I can't remember what they was either.
And they don't look upon tag team wrestling. I think Triple H has gotten better with it, but they don't do those tag team matches when Vince was around and when FTR was.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Reed.
Right,
that'll be the next one.
Bronson Reed, yeah.
They just signed a 4-year deal with AEW, locking them in for 2027. You also have Hangman Page. Adam Page is looking like he is going to sign an extension with AEW. Your thoughts on FTR? Are they correct on this? Should they trust Tony Khan over Vince McMahon and Triple H at the end of the day, Mark?
Well, be careful how you choose your words. You never know when that other, you got to cross that bridge, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
that's the thing. And, you can align with Tony Khan, but, the minute he doesn't do something and he releases you, boy, egg on the face, sunny side up when you go see Triple H.
Well, and I mean, they make you do these crazy gimmicks. I mean, Goldust had to do his crazy gimmick. And I remember Jeff Jarrett for a long time there. He was in, TNA because nobody thought he was ever going to be allowed back in WWE with the comments he made. Is FTR on?
FTR was called the Revival, Peter.
The Revival. There you go.
Right.
F the Revival. Say that 3 times. Go ahead, Ralph.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. So is he right about that? Should they trust Tony Khan over Triple H and Vince McMahon?
Well, I don't know. Like Mark said, it might bite you in the butt. You might need the WWE.
Yes.
Because if Tony Khan throws you out the window like McMahon does, we don't know what Tony Khan's doing. But, if he does that, then you're screwed. You can't go back. But FTR could always go to Impact. They could always go to MLW. They could always go to New Japan. They've been successful in those places. So, I mean, that's how you could do it there. Oh, by the way, Nick Aldis signed a contract with Impact.
Yep. Yeah. And it was talked about Triple H was interested in him. And once again.
And him too, yes.
Well,
yes.
That was the last guy that took shots at the WWE. And you guys remember it was Dean Ambrose on his way out.
Yes.
Right. Well, I think eventually Dean Ambrose will come back because
I think he will.
I don't see him hanging there with AEW. Just don't see
No.
I think he'll come back because he's already made it clear. A lot of his friends, like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and some others, are in the WWE, and so he feels creative's not doing him any justice there at AEW.
All right, let me read this comment, and we'll get you out of here on this. CM Punk is like King James, a big ass crybaby. All right, with that being said, there, Ralph Williams, go about yourself here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend.
Okay, first of all, Peter, I want to wish your mom a belated happy birthday. That's number one.
Appreciate
Number
that.
two, I heard you have $125 million on you. I was going to ask you for a small loan.
Well, I wish I did have $125 million. I don't know where TJ is getting that figure at, but I have to check my bank account. I'll see what I got for you.
Thank you. Anyway, Ralph Williams 737 at gmail.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Also on my YouTube channel. Please, folks, I only need 6 more to make 100. I'm still stuck at 94.
Oh, come on. We got to get it over there, baby.
This is crazy, man.
I got to make another gimmick here. Another
yeah,
page
get it come in.
Troy. Yeah. All right.
Ralph's rant.
I love when
That's
Ralph.
Right.
I wrote your rants. It's great. Ralph Williams, thanks a lot. The bodyguard.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me as always. Thank you.
Yes, sir. There you go. Yep. See ya, my friend. Let me go ahead and go out to you, the madman himself, former XPW announcer, Mark Mancini. Go ahead and promote yourself, my friend.
Well, XM 203, Sirius 217 Fridays. Also Thursdays is WWDB AM 860 with Marianne and Sal. Pittsburgh Pirate Podcast with Tarek Brock on Fridays and Mondays. And also now the San Francisco Giants.
Wow.
With their catcher, Alex Berg. So I'm so blessed to be doing these and working on the Phillies and the Angels now as we speak. But I love this show on Wednesdays, baby.
I know you do. It's Turnbuckle Talk, AEW, WWE, professional wrestling talk on the Sports Web Live. Mark, thanks a lot.
Mom is the best. We love you. These listeners are the best. And so be it. I'm going to wear the Cleveland Sucks shirt next week, I think.
Sounds good, my friend. Appreciate you as always. We'll see you next week. All right.
I love you, brother. Have a blessed one. Thanks.
Love you, brother. Good stuff there. All right, guys. I don't know. Give him some comments here. I don't know what's going on. I have to read those off here. Thanks a lot to all the guests tonight. Of course, the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports, of course. Bucs sideline guy, Mr. TJ Rives, Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. My co-host, my other co-host, Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. And, of course, the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini, and the bodyguard of the Berg, Ralph Williams. 8 days away from the NFL draft. Your Tampa Bay Rays are playing the Chicago White Sox this week. And who could forget your Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow night, hopefully taking a 2-0 lead over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Guys, keep it locked here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Like I Love St. Pete, Amped Up Sports, and the Hub. And do 3 things for me here on this happy day. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. Bucs fans, Lightning fans, Rays fans, sports fans of the Sports Web, it's your time. Have a great night.